You see the final score, we track the revenue stream. Welcome to the show that treats the sports world like the multi-billion-dollar business it is. We dissect the ownership deals, the television right battles, the NIL impact, and the media figures driving the entire narrative. From Wall Street to the locker room, we follow the money and the people who control the message. Welcome to Press Row, the business of sports, right here on the Empty the Bench Network. Now, here's your hosts, Callan McClurg and Nick Morgasen. And happy Wednesday, everybody. It is another episode of Press Row, live and in full on the Empty the Bench Network for the next 3 hours on this Wednesday, January 28th, 2026. He's Nick Morgasen from Plainview, New York. I'm Callan McClurg here in San Diego, California. Another action-packed 3 hours of sports business and sports media news, notes, and other things coming your way until 2 o'clock this afternoon, Pacific time, 5 o'clock Eastern. As a reminder, gang, make sure you follow us on social media. As always, as we are still pumping out our content, we are at Press Row ETV. And, of course, follow the network on social media. We are at ETV Network. And, of course, you can also subscribe to us at youtube.com/ETV Network. And more importantly, turn on that bell to get notified whenever our shows do go live. Nick, so much to unpack over the next 3 hours. Great to see you as always. Hopefully your back hasn't given out on you from the snow shoveling back east, but great to see you as always, my man. And what a show. What a show we got today. Good to see you as always. How are we doing today?
Yeah, we are jam-packed. We were working on a guest, but what I can tell you is that guest is confirmed for next week. And that guest is going to be Brandon Towers. And hold your breath when I say this next phrase. From the former Playback TV, the head of strategic partnerships, Brandon Towers, will join us next week. So we're going to get a little bit of the, what would you say, the scuttlebutt, the dirt that happened to Playback TV and kind of what went down. And we have a lot to catch up on. So we'll give you that. We got an incredible show. That's all I'm going to say, really, right off the bat, because I don't know where to start, because we had a plan because we thought he was coming on, but that gives us more time to kind of get through the show. We're going to talk about Unrivaled, but their nosedive. We're going to talk about the WNBA. Yes, there's a lot of big interviews coming up in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, so we're going to talk about Unrivaled ratings. The WNBA is going through drama again.
Pretends to be shocked, right?
Yeah. Also, Bill Belichick getting snubbed as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Bill Polian, I'm kind of looking at you because of some of the statements you made in the media. So we'll get into that. We'll also get into the Charles Bediako situation with whether that's really a legal scenario or not. The judge obviously gave an injunction to allow him to play. You kind of have a little experience firsthand seeing this with another player.
Correct.
Where you do PA for was it the college in San Diego?
Yeah, the University of San Diego.
We'll get into the NIL Darian Mensah situation, which I think was handled poorly. And shocker, pretending to be shocked. We'll get into Caitlin Clark, who apparently is going to be making some appearances because she thinks she's Michael Jordan. Also, it's time to, I think, say it's the beginning of the end of Live Golf. As well. Allen Iverson shit show down in Australia.
This guy.
This is a bad situation. When we get to it, you're going to understand why. Also, a certain media member down in Australia, speaking of Australia, trying to make the Australian Open political. Yeah, keep that in mind when we get to that topic, because there is a freelancer for The Athletic who is kind of, I don't know, what would you say, disrupting the way the tournament should be? Is that how you would
Yes.
refer to it, or no? I mean, but we got a lot to get
everybody was up at arms about Lynn Jones-Turpin's praise of Liam Cohen. Why are we not up at arms about what we heard or what we've been hearing from the Australian Open down under?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a good tournament. Novak was lucky to survive last night.
Oh, he got bailed out, sadly, in very much difficult fashion yesterday.
Yeah, so hopefully he plays good now that he got caught a break. But we'll see if that actually happens. But all right, where are we starting?
Yeah, Nick, we'll get started. And obviously, this needs to be discussed, whether we like it or not, whether the audience likes it or not. Of course, Nick, what we have seen, though, over the past couple of weeks, if not last several days, again, has rocked the nation to its core. But the Twin Cities of both Minneapolis and St. Paul remain in a very much state of grief and fury following another fatal shooting, this time a 37-year-old nurse, Alex Pretti, by federal agents during what they are calling Operation Metro Surge. This, of course, Nick, is the second high-profile killing in Minneapolis this month, including the first killing of Renee Gold, which has sparked a massive standoff between both local authorities and federal agencies. In a historic first, though, all of the Minnesota major sports franchises, which includes the Vikings, Timberwolves, Twins, Wild, Lynx, and Minnesota United FC of Major League Soccer, all signed a joint letter condemning the unconstitutional occupation of the Twin Cities area in Minnesota. Of course, Nick, this was a flashpoint moment 6 years ago with the murder of George Floyd at the pinnacle and the high point climax of the COVID-19 pandemic, where, again, we didn't have sports to kind of, in a way, as you have long been saying. We've discussed about how to handle this, though, off the air the past couple days. But, Nick, I think, though, the main anchor here for the question is, with every major pro team in the state of Minnesota acting as a unified political shield for their community, has the sports franchise in general, the team in general, now replaced the local government as the primary moral voice, though, in times of crisis? Your thoughts? Because obviously you have been on the front lines of political radio. You've been on the front lines of news talk radio, where I don't know if you've ever had to cover a riot or this kind of an ordeal happening in New York or just in general at WABC. But your thoughts about where we're at right now in 2026?
So I've worked the election night multiple times. I did work WABC through COVID. I saw plenty of riots. They had one that marched right by our former studios at 17 floors above Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
I actually called out of work because I was terrified to go into Penn Station. Hopefully people don't blame me for doing that. But you know what? This whole situation is a tough one. I'm on the fence in certain aspects of this. The government, I'm trying to be careful because this is not a political show. I'm tired of all the politics in sports. You've heard me say it multiple times. Sports is supposed to be about sports. Okay. Is everyone entitled to their opinion and their political points of views? Yes, they are. But if I'm watching sports, I don't want to hear it in press conferences. I don't want to hear. You want to go on your own platforms and talk politics? Be my guest. You can go talk politics on your own platform until you're blue in the face. Am I going to like you as much if you keep talking politics until the cows come home? No, I'm not. Because athletes are meant to play sports. And before anyone jumps in our chat and says, well, you're doing the whole shut up and dribble. No, I'm not saying they need to shut up and dribble. Because if I was saying shut up and dribble, that would mean I don't want them talking politics on their own platform either.
Correct.
I just don't want to hear it in press conferences. I'm tired of Steve Kerr, in case people don't know, the Warriors head coach, going into press conferences before and after the game and just giving his opinions about politics. That's not what those press conferences are for.
And to maybe branch to Steve Kerr, obviously he had, and we'll talk more about this in our next segment here. We'll have more about Breanna Stewart, of course, having the Abolish ICE sign during the Unrivaled introductions. We'll talk about the league, though, after that segment's over with, though. But I think, Nick, any point in time, though, that stuff like this happens. Now, this, I think, is a little bit different than, say, wildfires in California, where every single LA-based organization even those in Orange County, where again, Orange County and San Diego County aren't in Los Angeles, but even then, how every league from Major League Baseball to the NFL to the NBA, the NHL, even Major League Soccer, every league released a T-shirt in the colors of one's favorite team, but it read LA Strong. And we heard the stories of J.J. Redick and his family losing their home. I think other players had lost their homes during the Palisades fires around this time of the year last year. And I have lived through fire season, but I also see that point in time, or that aspect, is what brings family, or what brings everybody together, on top of playing. We always talk about, this year marks 25 years since 9/11 happened, and that the Mets play the Yankees, I think, on 9/11, I believe, at the stadium in the Bronx this year. But though, Nick, I think it's more of a flashpoint because, as I've long been saying, for the last 6 years, though, that this black cloud has hung over these two cities in Minnesota because of George Floyd, because of how all the leagues in some way bound together to confront social injustice, as we had already talked about with the NBA bubble having the boycotts of the games, how the WNBA boycotted games after Breanna Taylor was murdered, in her apartment in Louisville, Kentucky, for example. That my longstanding argument, though, and I agree, though, with Nick, though, is that if you can keep it away from sports or from your press conference, sure. But that should not mean, though, Nick, and I tried to find the video because, Colin Cowherd, when the NBA boycotted those games during the bubble season, had a very, I think, great point, though, and I'll talk more about this in our next segment here, regarding the fact, though, of, people should not be pressured into talking politics or taking a side on certain things. Though, again, I am all for anyone wanting to advocate for those who have been, handled, or that have had run-ins with ICE or with the federal government or what have you. I'm all for that too. And I think, Nick, it kind of went to a bit of our double-edged sword question last night. Which one gets on your nerves more? Is it athletes talking politics or athletes talking about their religion after they win a game?
Yeah, I'm all for, and originally I didn't like it, but now I get it, is like when players praise God, that's their choice. That's a religious choice. Okay? Now, people could argue and say, oh, well, it's my right politically to say what I want. Yeah, sure. It is your right. But again, during sporting events, and what these people fail to realize is that these events are sporting events, not political straight shots for you to. I don't want to hear your opinion. I don't want to hear if you're Democrat or Republican or in the middle. I don't care. Like, again, you want to go advocate on the side when you're not in games? Go do it. Go march on the streets for all I care. I don't care. It's this whole thing, and we're going to get to a story later about a reporter at the Australian Open,
Yes,
who is instigating part of this matter for what's going on.
Essentially poking the bear, yes.
And you were telling me, and I understood what you meant. To me, sports and politics are like oil and water. Yeah, and Christie's been saying that a lot, and I agree. That
I mean, just real quick and I'll give you back the floor here, Nick, in like 30 seconds. Again, as somebody who has worked within, sports for 18 years, between the minor leagues, a couple of, big four, big five leagues, teams, I do feel the franchise, in a very small way, does own some responsibility to at least give some kind of statement. I think back, Nick, to I think last summer when the Dodgers faced scrutiny for allegedly allowing ICE agents in California when they had the first major, I think, shot being fired when it came to the ICE crackdowns, that ICE agents had assembled at the Chavez Ravine parking lot, and the Dodgers didn't even bother to open the gates. I think they even put a statement out saying that ICE agents were not allowed onto the property of the stadium to assemble before they went and did their next round of crackdowns or raids. And then I applauded Kike Hernandez, who was the only LA athlete not named anyone else, not even, not the Lakers, not anybody. It was Kike Hernandez, Nick, and both of the soccer teams that play at BMO Stadium, that'd be Angel City FC and LAFC. They were the only three athletes or teams, Nick, who chose to make their voices known. And obviously, Kike coming from Puerto Rico, a U.S. Commonwealth, how he said, yes, I love playing for the city, but what we're seeing right now is not what is what I don't stand for, because I'm seeing my own people of my heritage being assaulted, being murdered in the streets of Los Angeles by whoever it might be.
But I feel like there's a right time and a wrong time to do a lot of this stuff. Like, again, and I get it, and I understand there's political issues. Trust me, I worked in political talk radio. I saw it on both sides of the aisle. I had to produce the world's most annoying mayor for almost 2 years.
And for anyone asking, that's Rudy Giuliani, by the way.
And trust me, I could write a book about producing that show.
You may have to.
Because he broke every possible rule there was talking politics, including the whole COVID nonsense, saying it was China, all that nonsense. But my point is, like, I feel like sometimes politics get mixed in with sports. They do. And unfortunately, people say, well, athletes should be allowed to do what they want. It's their platforms. They've earned the right. And sure, did they earn the right to do what they want because they have a successful career and a following? Sure. But I don't want to hear it. I don't want to. And we're going to talk about it in part 2.
Yeah.
Was it really necessary for Breanna Stewart to hold up an Abolish ICE sign before the game? You knew what she was trying to do there. That had nothing to do with trying to make an effort. That had to do, she was looking for attention.
And I think rightfully so. And again, we'll talk more about that here in about 3 minutes of time here. But I once again, though, Nick, I mean, regardless, I mean, this stuff is just getting, and I'm not saying this with it being the whole sports and politics stuff, just everything happening is just becoming too damn heavy, man. I mean, well, I'll talk more about, I mean, yeah, and I'll talk about, talk more about that here in just a few minutes here. But once more, again, what we also kind of missed in the shuffle, though, was that the NBA did move the Warriors-Wolves game to one day back after the initial fighting broke out, and obviously the murder of Alex that did occur. They moved the game because I think the NBA statement read in part that the area by the arena was becoming more of like a bit of a out of control environment, and it wasn't safe to travel in the area due to what, of course, had happened. And then, which again, Nick, went to your point, though, which was so weird from your perspective. The NBA canceled the game, but yet both the Minnesota Frost of the PWHL and the Wild of the NHL both still played their games, I believe, either that day or day before, or even the day of when the Wolves moved their game.
Well, here's the thing that doesn't make sense either. So the Timberwolves were quick to cancel their game. Quick. And then you saw the MBPA put out their statement also.
Well, and I want to backtrack real quick because I believe it was Joe Ingles, of the Wolves, who actually called Steve Kerr and said, Coach, we don't feel safe playing this game tonight because of what has gone on in our city. What do you think about going forward with canceling the game?
Okay, so here's the problem with that, okay? So the NBA, and you and I have discussed this, that NBA has been probably the most political since COVID when it comes to making statements and doing all these things, and that sometimes puts them in a bad spotlight because they don't know when to turn it off at times. So that happens. They cancel the game. Well,
they basically moved the game back one day,
which
to try to let the situation kind of diffuse itself, apparently.
And that pushing it back one day, does it really make a difference? No. But here's the issue, okay? So the NBA comes out, Minnesota comes out, the Timberwolves come out and say, okay, we're postponing the game, even though they used the word cancel, which is not the right word. And
postponed.
It should have been postponed. But the problem is, who played the same nights?
The Wild and Frost.
I'm sorry, where are the Wild and Frost located?
They're in St. Paul, not in Minneapolis.
They're in Minnesota, is my point. Did they say it was too dangerous to play?
No.
So why is it too dangerous for the NBA and the Timberwolves not to play?
Because I think I told you in a roundabout way, the NBA equals the word soft.
No, it equals the NBA equals political to me too. We've seen this many times. We saw this when they were in the bubble, like you mentioned, when the Black Lives Matter situation came up, when the George Floyd situation came up.
Right.
And I'm not saying what they're doing is wrong, but they're taking it to such an extreme that they're letting it affect the league and they're letting it affect the games that could be played. Is the point that I'm getting at.
So with that, Nick, let's get to part two, though, of this argument. Obviously, the other big thing that came out, though, was Breanna Stewart, the two-time league MVP of the WNBA, multiple-time champion, holding up the Abolish ICE handwritten sign. But also there's a side current, though, Nick, that we heard before we took the air today. Now, obviously, Stewie made headlines for good or bad reasons with the Abolish ICE sign at Unrivaled, keeping in mind that her wife is, in fact, a Spanish citizen and is also fighting a war on the second front, though, with the WNBA CBA. Away from the Abolish ICE sign, the WNBPA is still waiting for a response from the league on a proposal sent a month ago. The league reportedly feels it does not warrant a response, with Stewart telling ESPN at some point, enough is enough. I want to be in the room talking about the real stuff. These meetings get sidetracked by language and verbiage. We are missing the point. So, Nick, let's go to part one, though, about this. Obviously, Breanna holds up the sign. As I have long tried to say, though, in some capacity, that the NBA has probably been, to your point, the basketball as a whole has been probably the most politically driven forward league since the days of Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, even the NFL with Jim Brown early in the 60s. Muhammad Ali comes to mind, too, in the early 60s. John Carlos at the 68 Olympic Games in Mexico City with the Black Power salute on the medal platform. So it's always been here. I don't think it's just been as loud and radiant as it is now in 2026 as of the last several years. So, Nick, let's go to part one of the story. Obviously, we know, though, like we said, we kind of in a way laid out, though, about the NBA. Bill Russell, as I will be having a benchmarks episode, Bill was applauded for his playing career, but those same fans who cheered for him threw rocks through his windows of his home in Boston somewhere, or when he was playing at San Francisco back in the early 50s, mid-50s at USF. We talked about Muhammad Ali in capacity about how he denounced the Vietnam War, for example, and that even before BML happened, before 2020, before, the recent events of this administration, the WNBA had long always been on the forefront of issues dating back 30 years. And then obviously, the NBA has obviously been that way. Other leagues have kind of, in a way, leaned in a little bit, not a whole lot. Obviously, like I said, about 2020. So, Nick, let's go to part one, though, first of this topic regarding Stewie's introduction at Unrivaled this past weekend.
I don't like it. I'm sorry. People are going to get mad at me for it. I really don't care. Why do you have to do that at the game? Why do you have to hold up the paper or the banner that says Abolish ICE? What is that accomplishing during the Unrivaled game? And I'm asking you that, and everybody that. Tell me what that accomplishes during the warm-ups of the Unrivaled game.
I mean, other than the fact of just, as we say, if you have a platform, use it. But is that the right time and place to use the platform to get a message across like this?
You're about to play a game on the court, literally, and that they do it on purpose, knowing that they're on TV. That they don't have to do it on their own platforms, because if they do it on their own platforms, they're going to get criticized individually. If they do it on their own social platforms,
I think they'd be criticized regardless of what platform it's on, to be very frank.
No, but I'm saying is, hey, if I hold it up on TV, then the networks will get criticized because I held up the sign. If I do it on my own platforms, then I'm going to get all the hate on my own, is the point that I'm trying to get at. And the sign is not necessary. We know we have a problem in this country, okay? We know that the government we're currently dealing with, we're having a problem, okay? Now, people are going to debate the whole thing of illegals in the country. I really don't want to debate that. Again, this is not a political show. And like we said, you and I went through social media, and we saw the WNBA players who were making comments on social media about politics.
We also had Anthony Edwards, who... his response was a little weird, like he doesn't have social media or he doesn't use the internet, but he was aware of what's going on. He did release a statement. Karl Anthony Towns, again, longtime Wolves player, released a statement too. I believe over the course of the weekend as well. That also took place during the course of the last couple of days, for that matter. Um, I mean, can I just kind of open up a little bit here,
Yeah.
if you don't mind?
Yeah.
So my older brother, Nick, married a Vietnamese woman. They've been high school sweethearts since 2003. And she now works for the college system here in California. She works for the CSU board, which is SDSU. It's all the, Cal State universities. With the recent wave of issues that have popped up here, and this is what I'll say about Breanna Stewart and the statement that she gave. Again, I don't care about what side of the aisle you're on. If I hear about wings, I better be hearing about barbecue wings or right wing and left wing forwards. How about that? But regardless, my sister-in-law being a Vietnamese American, my niece being a Vietnamese American, my nephew being a Vietnamese American, my sister-in-law has, just out of precaution, driver's license, birth certificate, passport, every damn documentation in her possession is on her person whenever she's out the door, going to travel to talk to clients, talk to schools, or whatever. And for the longest time, I've been fearful of every minority living here. That includes my sister-in-law. That includes our former friends, Isaiah Leung and James Gonzalez, especially living in this state where, again, they have a lot of protections for anyone who is of the Hispanic demographic, and especially, Nick, the Asian demographic because of COVID 6 years ago and the rhetoric that has gone on. I fear every day for my sister-in-law, my nephew, my niece, Isaiah, James, and all of those people, because you just never know, Nick, sadly, what the hell's going to happen next. I mean, it could be any of us in general because of how out of control the stuff is. So to tie this in, though, to where we're at with Stewie, again, time and place is one thing. We get it. But again, as I'm going along say, use the damn platform. I really don't care if it's before the game, during the game, because, Nick, as we have long said now, I believe, sadly, the stick to sports rhetoric can be thrown out my bedroom window and into my driveway and run over by a garbage truck. Because I think now more people, I think, are starting to realize that there is right now no proper way for it to be sports and sports only because of, as we've said, though, the athlete voice now, I think, has more. They have more. What's the word I'm looking for? They have more. I mean, not even the words, but I think they have more power. We talk about athletes having power when it comes to their contract or their. Yeah, they have. There you go. Thank you. They have more influence, I think, on the world nowadays than where we were at one point with just the pockets of the Bill Russells and Alis and Browns and Kareems of the world, though, in the 60s, where, again, they were applauded by fans at UCLA or with the Celtics. But then those same people are throwing stones through the front door and the windows of their living room of their homes.
I get it. And you're not wrong. But I'm trying to get away from it. Like all the political rhetoric that we hear every single day. I did this for 4 years.
Correct.
And when the whole COVID thing happened, I got sick and tired of it because I was dealing with it 7 days a week, 24 by 7. And we saw this with athletes when COVID happened. Like everyone had a political opinion about everything. And I see it on TV, I hear it on radio, I see it digitally, and then I go on social media and I'm getting hit with athletes' opinions that I didn't even ask for.
Correct.
So I'm just tired. I want to just see games. I just want to see athletes play. I don't care about their political opinions. Like I said, you want to go off on your platform and do a video. It's your own platform. You control it. It's your freedom to do what you want. But holding up a Abolish ICE paper in the warm-ups before the games, it's not about sports anymore.
Correct.
It's no longer about sports. It's about getting who can get their political message to the highest amount of people that are watching.
And I think, Nick, if memory serves me correct, wasn't there some scrutiny towards LeBron this past MLK Day for the shoes he was wearing, if memory serves me correct?
Yes. I think he got fined for it, too, if I'm not mistaken. But But that leads to my issue again. Everything is a political movement, whether it's what you say or what color your hair is or what shirt you
Correct.
wear or what shoes you wear or whatever is in your social media bios. Like everything is judged as political rhetoric. And this goes back to what you said before. It's a scary place in our society now that we have to worry about every little thing that we say or we do. And someone will find a way to turn even a sports opinion that we have on this 3-hour show every Wednesday from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern. It's going to say, oh, well, he probably hates this side of the aisle, and that's why he's against LeBron James. Is that the society we're living in now?
Pretty much. And that's why I kind of said before I kind of opened up about, family, people who used to work with us here, who some of them I still talk to, some, we don't. But I mean, I'm fearful for those two, just for the fact of the rhetoric against that demographic, which has been beyond out of control for the last 6 years, if not longer. That's why I brought up Isaiah and James, because I do think about them because of just where the political climate has gone.
So I would never wish for anybody to be taken away. That's
Absolutely
ridiculous.
Not.
I don't care if I hate somebody to the 10 millionth degree or I like them and they're my best friend. I don't care. Like no one deserves punishment of being dragged away because of what they look like, what their nationality is, what their religion is, what color they are. It doesn't matter. We got to do it properly. And that's a problem we're having. And I hate to say this because, again, not political show. Do we have an issue with illegal immigration in this country? We do. Like, I'm not going to deny it. But if people are here legally,
correct,
then you can't whisk them away.
Yeah, whether you like it or not, sadly.
So, but the problem is with all influence today, Breanna Stewart, like I could go look it up on my own and see if what her following is.
It's got to be like close to 1 million, if not pretty dang close to it.
I don't know. Does she even have a Twitter? I don't even see it anymore.
Try her Instagram. It should be just Breanna Stewart 30.
But that's more the issue that we should be talking about, not necessarily the actions that are happening. But if I go on her Instagram, she's got 496,000 followers on it. Okay. And yeah, here's the post right here. It's the third post in on her Instagram post. Is her of holding up the paper that says Abolish ICE on it.
Yes.
And you have Angel Reese, one of the first to like it. Rika Agumbawali, Unrivaled Basketball, DeJohnny Carrington. All these players are liking it. And that's part of the reason why the W is having a problem, I think, too. Because they're more worried about, which is a problem, I'm not denying, but they're more worried about politicking than they are to get the sport back on the court.
And let's also remember, too, that these group of, that league forced out an owner because of political rhetoric 6 years ago in Atlanta.
Now, like you said, put the politics aside of the person. That could be a lawsuit, by the way, just so you know.
True.
That you can't force someone out of a job because you don't like their politics. Sorry, I'm admitting the quiet part out loud because that would be an HR issue. If you 100%. Fired somebody due to politics or due to religion or due to the color of the skin, which is a big issue that happens every single day in this country. You can't, if you don't like someone's opinion, just don't say it out loud.
And that's what we have gotten away from, which is why, Nick, that, my longstanding thought is, again, I don't care if it's a right wing, left wing, it better be forward for hockey positions or soccer, or it better be talking about barbecue wings from Buffalo Wild Wings. Simple as that.
And that's the problem. And the issue I had when I worked at WABC is people assumed because it was a right-wing racer, oh, well, you must be as far right as it possibly
No,
is.
people, I'm here to do a job and go home and support myself and my family. There's a difference.
Right. And I think that's part of the reason why the players get upset but they bring it on themselves partially because they're talking politics on media platforms, though. So that's an issue.
So with that, Nick, let's go now to part 2 of this, and we'll go a bit further with this as well when we do, in fact, talk about Unrivaled here shortly. But, of course, Nick, once more, though, back on the basketball side of things, and we thank everyone for bearing with us for the first few minutes here again, just to kind of, again, get some of those politics and sports stories out of the way, though. We still got 65 people watching, so thank you all again for hanging out as we get, I think, our 33rd show off the ground and running here today, or something pretty damn close to it already. But, of course, Nick, again, Stewie, though, back to basketball again, was quoted, though, in by ESPN, I believe Alexa Philippou and 2 other writers, who said in part, though, that at some point enough is enough regarding the CBA. I'd like to be in the room talking about the real stuff. These meetings get sidetracked by language and verbiage. We are missing the point, which again goes to ESPN's earlier sentiments, though, that the league, that the Player Association, Nick, is still waiting for a response from the league on a proposal they sent a month ago. And the league feels that it doesn't warrant a response to the Players Association. So, Nick, even if the league is refusing to even respond to proposals, is the lockout getting more and more out of control, where the only way to break the stalemate is Stewie's demand for direct face-to-face meetings with owners and even Kathy Engelbert?
It's not going to change because the league thinks that they're not getting enough out of the current CBA negotiations.
Agreed.
And then on the other side of things, the players are saying, well, F you, Kathy Engelbert. You're not giving us enough piece of the pie to be involved in this situation. So you're at a stalemate. David Sampson said it best when we had him on last week, that until the two sides come to some sort of agreement, we're in a stalemate. How do we fix this? If the players feel like they're being underpaid and undervalued, there might not be a season.
I mean, Nick, that time crunch is only getting worse and worse and worse right now.
100 days.
100 days left until the season's supposed to start again. And we obviously had talked last Wednesday at length, though. How can you have the season schedule out? How can fans buy tickets to games or single game tickets or season tickets? And how can Portland and Toronto unveil their jerseys when there is still no league business that is ready to go because there's no CBA in place right now?
You can't. You want the real honest answer? You can't, because how can you? Because I think I read you a tweet the other day that the Liberty put out a link to buy tickets.
I saw the LA Sparks do it too as well.
How can you put out a link well, you said the LA Sparks one didn't technically work. They just put out.
It didn't technically work, but they had the landing pages though for Sparks versus Fever, Sparks versus Toronto, Sparks versus Toronto.
But that's keywords that you just said. They're landing pages, but they don't
landing
work.
Pages. So you can go there, but you can't click on the actual buy tickets now link yet. It's not active.
Can we say that's another PR stunting coming from the W?
Oh, 1,000%.
Because the W thinks that they're not wrong in this situation whatsoever. Can we call a spade that the W thinks that they're as clean as a daisy? Like they just don't think. They think it's all the Players Association's fault this whole time?
Of course, yeah. And usually who gets the blame, though, whenever there's something like this happening? It's normally isn't the Players Association or union who gets the blame?
Always the players. Always the W always comes out and makes there's the MBPA's negotiation tactics are unreasonable. And what was the quote from Philippou today that I sent you? That
oh goodness.
I have it.
Hang on a second. Let me find it.
But basically, here it is. So Philippou had said the WNBA is still waiting an official response from the league since sending its proposal a month ago.
Good grief.
The league feels the proposal didn't warrant a response since it wasn't that different from the past ones, and instead is waiting for what it consider a more realistic proposal. That's that's a subjective response, right?
I mean, I couldn't agree more.
So
I don't understand it.
And people are making horrible assumptions in the responses of this too.
Oh, of course they are. Give me a break. What else is new?
And someone wrote they want 30% of an unprofitable $250 million in revenue and 50% of what revenue hinges on a single player, which could not be further from the truth in every way.
Because people again claim they have the knowledge of how much that the league is losing again, whereas we've long said, show us the receipts.
You can't, because it's a private league, so they don't legally have to show you the receipts. Even though, in my opinion, they should change the laws when it comes to these things, where if they were forced to show their revenue, then maybe there would be a little more pressure to stay in line with your players association to actually control what their value is when it comes to being on the court.
Something.
But I don't see this getting resolved. I just don't, because if the W's coming out and saying that they don't think this is a realistic proposal, what are we supposed to do?
Is the scheme of chicken going to keep going, or as you love to say, we're going to just keep moving the goalposts further down the field or down the court?
Well, let's put it this way. They basically gave up on extensions of the CBA. What was the term?
Hallelujah.
What was the term that they use now? That they're at an impasse, basically?
Yes.
And so basically, are they on any agreement right now? Or what is it? Did it just run out?
I think what I heard before I move on here to talk about Unrivaled a little bit further is I believe they're working still with the
last agreement.
Yeah. Or is the league simply on this?
Was on crack.
Well,
I mean,
I could have told you that, but
yeah.
I don't know how you fix this. My opinion is that the season is going to get delayed in some way, shape, or form.
I mean, as soon as the preseason, not even that, the further this goes, Nick, I think as soon as you lose the expansion draft for the Tempo and the Fire, too many T's in my head. But once you lose the expansion date for the draft, that's when I think all the alarm bells ring further. And then once you lose the college draft, as Vince Carter would say, it's over.
Yeah. I think they've already lost a lot of money because they are not able to promote or do anything with the players right now, currently.
Could not agree more.
When it comes to promoting this league, and all the power right now is going into promoting Unrivaled or Project B or Players Unlimited, which we haven't heard much about Players Unlimited or Project B. And
and before we move on, I don't know. Like I think I want to say their TV deal is with FanDuel Sports Network, which yikes! I mean, that's going to be going away very soon from what we've been hearing with all the latest garbage with them. But I don't know. Nick, but stay though with Unrivaled and go to the nosedive of ratings. But recent Unrivaled ratings from last Friday showed roughly only 20 to 30,000 viewers in the 18 to 49 demographic. The staggering drop-off from the hype surrounding women's basketball was just 6 months ago. Critics are now beginning to argue that the Caitlin Clark effect has not carried over to the rest of the league stars, and the hype may have officially nosedived. Nick, with ratings for Unrivaled this low for a league featuring the world's best players, is the Unrivaled model failing to capture the casual fan, or has the general WNBA fever simply cooled off?
Well, David Sampson said this also very well, too, if you remember. First year, everyone is in the hype phase. Everyone is going to watch. It was the brand new league on the block. All the big players competed. Usually in year twos of business is you have to figure out how to keep the customer and how to keep them wanting to come back and watching the product. So he said it's in business. This is a classic move where business usually drops off in year two slightly, and you have to figure out how to retain an audience, how to retain business, how to retain sponsors, how to retain marketing to keep people to come back and spend money to watch your product. And they got to figure out how to get out of the one stadium in Florida. They need to get this to travel a little bit more. They did a decent job. They got a presenting sponsor in Sephora, which helps. I forgot if they're working with something else. I think Unrivaled has quite a few.
I feel like maybe a few WNBA sponsors might be. I feel like AT&T might be a sponsor of them, I want to say.
Okay, so Unrivaled has 20 high-profile blue-chip partners for its 25-26 seasons. Samsung Galaxy presenting for tech, Ally Financial for banking, Under Armour for uniforms. That one makes sense. And Body Armor for sports drinks.
That makes sense.
The league is valued at $340 million. And it also features integrated sponsorships from brands like Sephora. Morgan Stanley, and Maker's Mark.
Hmm.
So they have sponsors.
So it's not to say they don't have the backing. And Nick, I think David was so right last Wednesday because I've seen this firsthand with 3 new teams who've come to San Diego with the Seals, owned by your boy Joe Tsai, and both of our soccer teams, well, at least one of them with the Wave. Now, the Wave played at my university for the latter part of their first season before Snapdragon Stadium officially opened for operation in late 2022. But every game that they played at Torero Stadium, which only holds about 6,000 fans, was sold out or standing room only, where it was like 8,000 people would be standing, like 2,000 people are standing on the top of the concourse watching the game. Then obviously when they went to Snapdragon, it was sold out, 32,000 plus people. Then by year 2, it was still steady. They got to the league semifinals and lost to Seattle. Then, though, I think year 3 is when the bombshell got dropped about Jill Ellis's rhetoric in the front office. And that turned a lot of people away from the franchise. And even now, Nick, that ripple effect going into year 5 has been catastrophic. I have never seen a team lose so many players to free agency or mutually agreeing to part ways with contracts. And even, and I love her to death, Callan Sheridan's wife, Dominique, blasted the Wave on their way out to North Carolina on social media, basically in a roundabout way saying, we're going to an organization that actually cares about us as wife and wife or as a family, but also cares about us where we won't be facing whatever we face in San Diego. And that's been crushing though, Nick, because I love the Wave. I love soccer in general, being a college announcer for the game and also, being a fan of both SDFC of MLS, who they start year 2 this season. So I'll be eager to see how the attendance is come next Tuesday for their first game of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. But ever since the Jill Ellis scandal broke out in San Diego, Nick, the Wave have been crushed by attendance problems. And that kind of in a way goes to Unrivaled a little bit, though, where again, maybe that, to David's point, though, the first year shine kind of in a way goes away. But also, Nick, to what we have also long said, until Caitlin Clark makes up her mind about her off-season league, the ratings for all these leagues, Nick, are going to keep suffering until she joins a league, if she does.
Right. I mean, well, first of all, people got to give Caitlin Clark a respite. She wasn't healthy last season in the W. She needed to recover. So I don't think she was ever going to play in a league anyway. Now, if there's no NBA season, no WNBA season, she's going to have to find a league to play in. Now,
yes.
Does she really need the money from a league, considering all the sponsors and all the revenue she brings in? No, she doesn't have to. But you're right. When there's controversial issues, that leads to attendance problems, like you said. Or if you give fans a reason not to watch, that's hurting your bottom line. Now, I know a little bit more about the San Diego Wave situation than most.
We both do, because I was a freelance writer for the team for 2 years. And by the time we got to the year where it all happened, I happen to know Brittany Alvarado and know Bernadette O'Donnell, 2 of the women who came forward and told their stories. I know that I think Nick interviewed Brittany Alvarado, who was the lead defendant in the case, or plaintiff in the case.
I spoke
and
to
then her. I worked with Bernadette O'Donnell, who was one of the assistant PR reps for the organization, who made my job really easy. They were very much, great with communication when I was, just starting out covering the team for a third-party site. And they obviously both, made their thoughts. Obviously, Brittany sued the franchise and I think sued the league as well. But maybe, Nick, you can add some more depth to this if you can.
So we used to have a show called Game Changers, which was our women in sports show. I'd like to get another show like that. I had reached out to Brittany and she actually responded back to me on social media. We did an episode and she actually took a picture, sent it to us. Instead, I watched the episode when you guys put it out, and she was in full agreement of everything that our 2 hosts had said. And we tried to get her on a show, but it was right around when the litigation was starting to be put together.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You said you still know her?
I didn't know Brittany that well. I knew one of the PR reps. I don't know if I have her contact info anymore. But I knew though that it was going to be interesting, and that so the whole Ellis thing on top of their bad season, Nick, just turned so many people away. I went to one game because I only had time to go to one game that season, and then I gradually went to more games last year. I know Shannon McMillan, who works in the front office, and she's one of my heroes of the '99 team who won the World Cup. But Shannon and I have worked together though with past other teams in town with either the Sockers or formerly San Diego Loyal. When I did a couple of games for them of the USL ranks, and the shine has kind of dropped off, and I feel like, Nick, it's kind of hit in a way, in surfing terms, it's hit a sandbar because of this season, just for the fact, Nick, of so many players that have been here since day one, practically, like the Callan Sheridans of the world and the, Kristen Westfalls of the world have all left, or they, have gone to other teams in the league, or they've gone overseas, as Delphine Cascarino just did, to go back to her home country of France. And that there's been, they'll say it's more of a youth movement because they've been sending a lot of like 19, 20-year-old kids out of college, or some, veterans across the league. But Nick, I would read those comments when they would announce that, like, Savannah McCaskill has been sent to Gotham. Callan Sheridan, contract parting ways, signs in North Carolina. I mean, Nick, this fan base has beaten that franchise over the head with a steel chair over and over, because obviously you grow attached to the players. And, from my perspective, it's tough for me to kind of attach to them because I've been working in minor league hockey my whole life. And it was very, you never know, can't be doing that sort of stuff. And it's tough for me to kind of get back into that mindset. But, Nick, these players, though, with SDFC and with the Wave, win, lose, or draw, Nick, they'll sign for you after a game's over. They'll take all the pictures in the world. And, I have for the Wave games, I sit with a family I know from SDFC and from Soccer's, Wave, or Gulls, or whatever. So it's I'm like their older son, basically, but it's husband and wife and their kids and a couple of friends. We sit, Nick, one row behind the goal at Snapdragon Stadium. I mean, it's prime real estate.
Wow.
And before every game, because Callan Sheridan and I knew each other a little bit because she came out for a Gulls Women in Sports Night. She got to drop the puck. She's from Canada, so she obviously was a great fit. She rode Bazamboni, so I actually saw her on Bazamboni before she was going to go for her joyride. And I yelled over because the Zambonis are very loud. And I said, "Hey, Callan, how cool is this, right?" And she said, "Dude, this has been like my lifelong dream, being born in Canada, just to ride the damn Zamboni." So like after every game, though, this past year, like we would chop it up for a little bit, and she would always like tell the security guards, I'm not leaving until everybody in the front row gets an autograph. So you can, if it takes another hour, then tough shit, basically.
Wait a minute. Can you get her on the show?
It'd be very tough, but I'll see what I can do, though.
Because she seems like a decent human being. I think it'd be
and I mean, I'm not surprised, though, Nick, to tie it back to Unrivaled. It's year 2. I mean, give it a chance. I mean, every league, every team, as David Sampson said last week, they go through these peaks and valleys. I think they'll be fine.
Second year of a business, even if it's not media or a league.
Oh, yes.
Say it's a, I don't know, example of a sales business.
Correct.
Everything goes down in year 2 because the first year is the peak interest of every business. Everyone and their mother wants to know what the new business is in year 1. It's how
Correct.
do you retain that customer to buy a second, a third, and a fourth time into the business that you're doing. By the way, that's the biggest hurdle. And eventually, I think when the W comes back, that's going to hurt them partially too at some point.
In a way, could it be, and this might be out of the box, but in a way, could this be like how people despised baseball after they came back in '94 after the strike?
No, because you didn't really have social media push back in '90. You didn't have any social media push in '94.
I think, Nick, because I think back to when we watched the Aces win the ship over the Mercury. Because I said we're not going to go away. We're going to show you the presentation. But I even said during the commercial break, Nick, I'll be very curious how these Phoenix fans react when Holly Rowe introduces Kathy Engelbert. Sure enough, look what happened.
Yeah, really. I don't know. People got to give it a chance. I think people are overreacting in a lot of ways. It's the second year of Unrivaled. Obviously, you have to make adjustments so that you can grow revenue in the league. Everything hinges right now on the CBA agreement between the WNBA and the WNBPA. Until that's figured out, it's tough for them to say, hey, excuse me, we're going to dump all this money into Unrivaled. And also, you have WNBA players that are between two leagues currently.
Right.
That's another issue. If they were all in on Unrivaled and they were able to put full promotional aspect behind Unrivaled, they would be able to grow tenfold, 20-fold, I think.
Couldn't agree more.
But because a lot of these, excuse me, a lot of these players are still in the W, trying to fight for a CBA agreement, they can't put their full effort into being in Unrivaled or being in Players Unlimited or being in Project B, because say those leagues don't work out, say Unrivaled eventually folds or Players Unlimited folds or
Project B goes under somehow.
Project B goes under and you screw over the WNBA, what do you have left?
You got nothing.
So it's walking the tightrope. Or it's like walking like in the movies where they have the rope bridges with the wood planks in it. And if and if you accidentally step too hard, like your foot's going to go through it and one of them's going to fall. Like that's what the WNBA is right now. They're a rope bridge with wood planks in it. And the wood planks are the separator between the WNBA and the rest of the other leagues.
Yeah, I mean, so much, hinges. And again, now that you said that we are 100 days out from the season.
Scary to think, right?
It's scary to think because when exactly is the red button going to be hit when it comes to like a doomsday date? I know the doomsday clock got moved up to 85 seconds yesterday by the Atomic Bulletin of Scientists yesterday. But where is the WNBA doomsday clock sitting at right now? Are we 5 seconds away from midnight? Are we 10 seconds away from midnight? Are we 2 hours away from midnight? Like there needs to, and I said this too, I think, Nick, before I came here years ago, when we had the most recent baseball lockout, where is the doomsday date? That you hit the red button and say, if we get to this day on the calendar without a deal in place, we're canceling games for the regular season.
Oh, you mean when are they going to do this?
Precisely.
I don't think they're in any rush because both sides are not going to come to agree with the players are basically saying, F you, Kathy Engelbert, until you pay us our percentage of the pie, we're not coming. And the W is saying to the players, well, F you, we're not giving away our revenue because we don't feel like we have to.
Could not agree more. All right, Nick, top of the hour coming up here. Nick, what is coming up later today on the video side for ETB Sports episode 302 already? 303?
Yeah, 303. I think it's 302. I'm losing track of my. Actually, you know what? I can look in the banners because we just did the show 302. So we recapped the championship round, NFC, AFC. We talked about the Super Bowl. It's too early for predictions.
Yeah, still got another week to go?
Another week at least. Huge NFL coaching carousel. Robert Saleh is back as a head coach of the Titans. Brian Dable is the offensive coordinator. So you have two New York head coaches now in the Titans. Who else? We did a huge amount of coaching carousel movement. Also, we talked about Jamel Hill's controversial comments about the Falcons and Kevin Stefanski because apparently she can't keep her damn mouth shut. If it wasn't for all the topics we had today, we would have gotten to that topic too. But we just didn't have room for it.
Yeah, we don't no room whatsoever.
UFC 324 in the books, the first UFC on Paramount Plus card, which drew close to 5.1 million viewers. And they got 1 million extra subscribers after the first card on Paramount Plus. So come check it out later today, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. If you want the audio dropped at midnight Eastern, very early this morning. So if you want the audio, go listen. If you want the video side, about 3 hours from now, you'll be able to go check that out. So ETB Sports on the way. MTGP Moving the Goalpost episode 99 is tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time. A lot of football. Callan's favorite sport.
If it's the
yes.
global version, then yes.
Yeah, so they got into all the stuff like we did. Also, is officiating experts useless? You're going to hear Nick D and Johnny Montalbano.
One of the best teases, by the way, in recent memory of me being here for an episode.
Also, they talk about the Dodgers ruining baseball. The answer is yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's Thursday. Friday, actually, we're kind of football-less technically for a week.
What?
This is the stinking Pro Bowl week between championship week and Super Bowl week. Because everyone cares about the Pro Bowl. Yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the week. And then obviously we get into our live programming on the weekend. I almost said Gridiron Gridlock. Hardwood Game Day, which is our rotated show in for college basketball back 11 a.m. to noon Eastern on Saturday. Between the Ropes, 5 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. And the Lounge, which I think is going to be. I think we're doing a large version of the Lounge.
We're doing a mega show on Sunday, February 1st for a full Super Bowl preview. It'll be the only Lounge show until Saturday the 7th.
So yeah, check that out. And I don't know if it matters, but my birthday's coming up soon.
Yes,
on the February 3rd. Yes, I'm going to be 33.
Christy agrees, yes.
I mean, Christy, there is enough coaching carousel news technically to do like a Minnesota, like 15, 20 minutes.
Royal Rumble Saturday night too. So Christy will be, I think, reacting to the Royal Rumble fallout on BTR on Saturday afternoon.
And also reacting to the Saudi Arabia stuff.
Yes.
Because that's a long trip, by the way, from what I understood. Like it's like 6,000 miles.
Yeah, I think Pamela Martinez, Bailey stage name, literally documented the travel. I mean, they were all zombies today before they went on a camel adventure today in the desert.
But they probably traveled on first class. Come on.
Yeah, it's still, though. That's a long way to go.
I've never been on a camel before. I'd just be afraid of getting
fun. It looks fun.
I'm afraid of getting spat at by a camel. Like, I heard
getting kicked by a horse.
Well, that hurts too. But
yeah,
I don't know. That's a great debate. We should put that as a poll.
Oh God.
Would you rather be?
This I agree with. Jet lag is a bitch. Yes.
I'm trying to think the longest flight I ever took. I think it was like 7 hours.
Australia, 18 hours.
Well, and the time zone changes.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
That's the biggest bitch. It's not that the flight is long. It's
like losing, like when me and my dad flew to Sydney in 2012, left out of LAX, lost the day. So we left Tuesday night. It was already Wednesday morning when we got there.
Oh,
we left Sydney Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. to fly to LA.
You went backwards?
And then we came to LA Tuesday morning, 10 a.m.
So you felt like you were going back in time.
So we had a kid who celebrated his birthday twice on the way home.
Wait, really?
Because we left Sydney on Tuesday on his birthday. We flew into LA. It was Tuesday and his birthday.
Oy.
It's funny how that works.
Who said you couldn't travel back in time?
Yeah, where's Doc McBrown and Marty McFly at, damn it?
It's one of my favorite movies, actually.
Oh, yeah. Great soundtrack, too. All right, Nick. This one, though, I mean, talk about a shock. Oh, my goodness. But reports, though, confirm on late Tuesday evening, Bill Belichick will not be a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Famer. Yes, Big Bob's Beepers. Voters led by Bill Polian reportedly argued for a 1-year wait as penance for his past coaching scandals. Players like both Pat Mahomes and LeBron James have already taken to social media to call the move egregious. Nick, is making Bill Belichick, the numerous-time Super Bowl champion head coach and former defensive coordinator, a legitimate form of accountability, or is the selection committee turning the Hall of Fame into a personal tool for old-school grudges?
Can I say yes to the second part? I mean,
yes.
This is politicking if I ever saw it.
I wouldn't even say politicking, Nick. I think it's gatekeeping in the worst way.
I mean, there's a lot of rumor and speculation going around that they're holding him out because of Deflategate and Spygate. And
then Bill Polian doubles in and says, I don't remember saying that shit.
I just I don't understand. Like the guy is an all-time coach, 8 Super Bowls. He had like 17 division, won 17 division titles. I mean, the guy is an all-timer. He is the greatest coach in the NFL of all time. It's not debatable. I'm a Jet fan saying this, okay? So this is ridiculous. So what? Now we're going to hold his life choices and everything against him, and you're not going to put him in? His numbers clearly state he is the best coach of all time.
I
Okay?
mean, Christy and I share the same sentiment. As much as people, disgruntled Jet fan in square one, former NFL fan of 9 years in San Diego in square two, as much as we may have hated Belichick in that era of the Pats, I thought he was going to be a shoo-in to the Hall of Fame. And like Christy said, I was stunned. I mean, even when or actually it was Ben Cruz who actually broke the news in our Slack chats over the last, 12 plus hours. I'm reading that. I'm like, this is a disgrace to the NFL and disgrace to pro football.
Yeah, so 6 Super Bowl wins, 9 Super Bowl appearances, 31 playoff wins. I mean,
Well, technically, okay, so that's the 6 that he won as a head coach, right? That you're talking about, because he won 8 technically because he had 2 more as the coordinator for Parcells with the Giants. So technically, he has 8.
right, but I guess because you're judging based on head coach.
But yeah, the head coach, but still 6 rings. I think that doesn't Belichick have as many as San Fran and Pittsburgh? I think when it comes to total championships.
There are some teams that don't have any.
Well, yeah. I mean, this former fan in San Diego didn't have shit.
But my point is, he's won more than some teams combined. Yeah, like you're saying. But this whole argument is ridiculous. Bill Polian is out saying stupid things, saying like, oh, I voted for him. Now I don't know if I voted for him. Come on, man. You knew if you voted for him. They did the vote, what, a month or 2 ago?
I think so. Sounds about right.
How do you not remember if you didn't vote for him? Are you buying that? Because I'm not.
No, I'm not buying it, and I partially. This will be stupid. I partially wonder though if I agree with Christy Wilson where she says Bill Polian doesn't remember. I call bullshit. I mean, I do too. I mean, like, how do you not remember who you voted for the damn Pro Football Hall of Fame?
By the way, I want to
yeah,
point
go
out,
ahead. But, this is a shock. It's a disgrace to the NFL, to pro football as a whole, though I don't watch the sport anymore after 9 years after the Chargers left. But to hold the grudges based off of 2 separate scandals with both deflating the footballs and then the Spygate. I think the Spygate year, Nick, they got to the title game, but lost to the Giants. That was the 17-0 pursuit, I think, or 18-0 pursuit.
Yes. So Ryan Leaf, that name should sound familiar. Mr. Disgruntled, overdrafted. Peyton Manning went 2nd overall in that draft and had a successful career.
Yeah. Thank you for the reminder.
So, so Ryan Leaf tweeted out, "I'll be transparent. I am one of the Hall of Fame voters who didn't vote for Coach Belichick. It's come time that it's come time that if you are able to penetrate the walls of the voting ilk, yours or anyone's resentments can be fueled with revenge. Tom ain't getting in either. Lose to Foles. No way, no how." What? First of all, that's a bizarre take.
So Ryan Leaf, God, former Charger quarterback, drafted out of Washington State.
Wait, he's going to throw stones at people when his career was a shithole?
You don't have to tell me. I lived through it, for God's sakes, in San Diego.
No, but I'm just saying, I find it ironic that this guy couldn't make it through a locker room without wanting to choke a media person.
Yeah, he wanted to choke out Jay Posner, and Junior Seau had to go and, basically firemen's carry him out of the locker room.
Well, didn't he have a drug issue at one point?
Yeah,
supposedly?
He had a massive, massive issue with drugs, I think, after his bomb out from the Chargers in the NFL.
He was a bust. He literally was a bust.
Baby. How about that?
Oh, right. Christy did tell me this once.
That's right. Yeah.
Ouch.
I mean, okay. So let me go back to my former Charger quarterback here with this stupid take. So, okay, at least he said, I didn't vote for Belichick for these reasons.
I appreciate the fact that
I appreciate that.
that he
I don't
said.
agree with the part about Tom Brady, though. The fact
Yeah,
he loses to a backup quarterback is going to cost him a spot in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Come on, Leaf. Stop it.
I mean, first of all, the Eagles were just a really good team that year, number one. Should Foles have won? The only reason they won was because of the Philly special
Correct.
play. They didn't win it because they were the better team. They won because of a stupid play where Nick Foles went out and caught a pass on a receiver route. So, first of all, Ryan, it's hard to take anything he says sometimes with a grain of salt.
Yes.
But for him to say that it's come time that if you're able to penetrate the walls of the voting ilk, yours or anyone's resentments can be fueled with revenge. The hell are you talking about, sir?
I mean, and I know that in baseball that they always talk about character and integrity when they talk about people who make the Hall of Fame for Major League Base or for baseball. Okay, I get it. The character and the integrity of Belichick could be in question by every sports fan out there because of, as Bill Polian did mention, Spygate, Deflategate, his pompous ego and attitude towards the media. We're on to Seattle. We're on to Cincinnati. Seattle, Cincinnati, blah, 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 blah. How he was very much, stone cold face at every press conference, even now, with Jordan over at UNC, for example, also in a way being one thing. That shouldn't, though, diminish the fact he's the single greatest American football coach ever. I don't care about, Bill Walsh. He's already in the Hall of Fame, or Coryell. They're already in the Hall of Fame, finally. The guy's won. Was there tomfoolery involved? Sure. But, Nick, this is such a slap in the face. Not just to Belichick, Nick. It's a slap in the face to the game and the sport of American football because, yeah, it'll be, he'll get in next year. No, he should have been an automatic slam dunk, unanimous vote for the Hall of Fame. Don't at me.
The problem is, and we've seen this in baseball before, I don't think Ichiro was a unanimous Hall of Famer.
Neither was Mo, and neither was Jeter.
Griffey, I don't think.
Tony Gwynn.
Wait, I thought Mariano Rivera is the only one who was a unanimous Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Which I'm kind of surprised, but.
And there was one voter who didn't vote for Derek Jeter, which I thought was blasphemous too.
Was that the high school voter? I think
so.
Which, by the way, I don't know how he got a vote for the Hall of Fame covering high school sports, but here's an interesting thing, and I want to make sure I give this person proper credit.
By the way, Christy said that Ryan Leaf is still trying to be relevant, but it is not working.
It's not. I think he works for ACC Network or SEC Network now, I think.
Which is weird because he went to Washington State.
Yeah, it's true. Let's see. As outrageous as this is for Bill Belichick, it is probably a good thing. Of the 50 voters that decide Hall of Fame entry, listen to this. Out of the 50, 45 are media members.
Oh.
So what does that tell you?
A lot of them probably are grizzled old men, many of whom probably worked in the AFC East during Bill and Brady's run through the division all those years. Maybe a few West Coast pundits who didn't like the fact that, of what Brady did with, Deflategate, for example, underneath Bill's watch, for example. In a way, I didn't want to say, maybe the fact of Polian, flip-flopping. Well, I had to play against this guy for all these years in the AFC East when I was with the Buffalo Bills and I'm, holding that against him. I don't know, Nick. Again, it's a slap in the face. For that matter, Nick, it's an embarrassment that Bill Belichick, and I know about the baggage, for God's sakes. I haven't watched.
The whole world does.
Yeah, I haven't watched a single NFL game in 9 years in its full entirety, and I'm proud of it. Even I know that this should have been an easy, cut and dry, wash the hands underneath the hot water with soap and hand sanitizer. You put the guy in the Hall of Fame one way, shape, form, or size on year one of the ballot, not waiting till next year because, all these grudges of 2007 and Spygate and Deflategate and on to Seattle and how he treated the media. That doesn't mean shit if you ask me because of what he did on the field.
I mean, winning 6 Super Bowls and 9 Super Bowl appearances, that's quite impressive. And of course, you could debate all you want, whether it was Tom Brady or Bill Belichick or all that nonsense. It doesn't matter. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. What are they going to do to Tom Brady then?
Apparently, Ryan Leaf says he's not going to get him because he lost to a backup quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Okay. And Ryan Leaf is not exactly the brightest bulb in the box when it comes to understanding football.
The sharpest tool in the shed.
But Ryan, I think you're a little jealous that you didn't have a successful NFL career.
Well, I mean, literally when the local news stations used to have recurring segments on the sports reports on Channel 8 News here in San Diego called Another Leaf Falls Off the Tree whenever he'd have an outburst.
Yes, I do remember that actually. But you know what? Like, let Ryan be jealous. Ryan's jealous looking at Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and seeing their careers. Tom Brady's won how many rings? 7. Belichick's won 6. Ryan doesn't know success in the NFL at all. He wouldn't know what it's like to hold up a Super Bowl.
If you were to look up the word bust in the NFL dictionary, there's a picture of him and Jamarcus Russell and Johnny Manziel next to each other.
I literally was just going to say, like, a bunch of those names. Like, Ryan. And by the way, I'm ecstatic that you figured out your drug issues. You got through it. You're working on TV. All good. Like, we're happy for you because your drug issues were tough. Like,
they were.
He couldn't control his attitude in the locker room last time I checked and remembered. Like I said, he almost killed a reporter in the freaking locker room.
I lived through it.
So, Ryan, just stop with the jealousy, man. What do they say? Jealousy is like a bad look. Like they just say it doesn't suit people very well.
Yep.
So just get over it, man. Belichick should be a first ballot unanimous Hall of Famer, and it's not close.
All right, Nick, back to college basketball, and I lived through this kind of nightmare on Saturday, but a judge in Alabama has ruled that Charles Bediacco is eligible for Alabama despite 3 professional contracts within the NBA and NBA G League. Should be noted, though, Nick, that the judge that threw out the case is, in fact, an Alabama athletics donor. Callan, hi there, was at the Jenny Craig Pavilion in San Diego this past Saturday working the USD Santa Clara men's basketball game and saw the first big domino that fell regarding this NBA G League college bridge with Central African star Churi Darlin, a G League Ignite veteran who was with the Delaware Bluecoats before the season began, lead Santa Clara over USD 83-75. Darlin looked like a pro playing against children, proving, Nick, that the student-athlete era is finally over. Nick, if NBA players or G Leaguers like both Darlin and Bediacco are the new standard for college players, does the NCAA now have any logical argument left to prevent a full transition into a paid minor league basketball system?
This is a nightmare. I mean, I feel like the way that, and you and I have discussed this over the last couple of nights, once you cross over into the draft, once you get drafted by a team, there's no going backwards. The NFL doesn't allow it. Once you're in the NFL, you can't.
Baseball doesn't allow it.
First of all, I don't think it would ever happen in the NFL because once you make it to the NFL and you're going to make more money in the NFL than even with the NIL money, you're going to make
contracts.
But something's not adding up really, and why would you go backwards? Tell me how that makes sense.
Yeah, why take 2 steps forward and take 10 steps backwards, right?
Unless you had such a failure of a NBA career and you couldn't make it up on an NBA roster. Now with all the NIL money, I'm telling you, it has to do with this. Because why would you go backwards unless you're getting NIL money? But remember, if you get NIL money, you have to be enrolled in classes to get NIL money.
Nick, I don't do full-time PA for our men's basketball team. I fill in when Alex Miniak, who you know is in the MLB The Show video game. He's the Padres PA announcer. He was away working monster truck at Golden One Center in Sacramento over the weekend. So I got to fill in for the game on Saturday. I had just done our women's game earlier on. So I'm more in touch with the women's basketball team more than I am with our men's team, though I love Coach Lavin. He's trying his damnedest to make this work because, our school, as I said last week, though, our conference and our school, we get killed by NIL money on top of the fact we still have that team called Gonzaga U in our league, that other school named St. Mary's College of California in our league still at this rate until they one or both eventually move out, which Zaga is moving out. And then I remembered, though, that, Santa Clara has always been a very good program. Obviously, Steve Nash went there and other guys have gone there. But so I'm sitting at the scores table during halftime because I didn't get the roster for Santa Clara in time to prep the night beforehand when we were in the dungeon. And I'm, ciphering through, writing out the pronunciations, and I see Churi Darlin. And I look at where, because I always, say, hey, 7-foot center from, freshman year from wherever they're from. So I'm reading it. And as you know very well from your time at LIU doing basketball, you see the hometown, maybe their high school, maybe one college they were at before they came to your university. This one, though, was different, Nick, because it said Central Africa Republic, the first school he was at. Then I see Delaware Bluecoats, parentheses, NBAGL. And I had forgotten that he was the first real player before the Baylor snafu broke out, Nick, with the guy that played for the Grizzlies and before the Betty Yako ruling. That was actually the first player that, as you said, took the 5 steps backwards to go back to college. And, Nick, he wasn't even a starter. He was 6-man off the bench. But when he came in, though, you could tell he was here, and all of our guys, now was it because Lavin rolled out a small lineup at one point in time? Sure. But again, he was here. The talent pool's down here on the opposing team for Santa Clara. And I even told you in a way, because obviously my job, you're supposed to be kind of, neutral, or, you're supposed to, get hyped for the home team when they score and kind of, bland, boring, and insufferable when the visiting team scores, obviously. I mean, that may have been like the lowest of lows I've gone. It was already Churi Darlin. That was it. Because I kind of knew you, sir, should not be here right now. You should be playing right now with the blue coach with a different G League team. Not, as you said, you should not be regressing backwards because you have the eligibility. And I mean, he only had like 8 points and a couple of rebounds, but still, it just did not feel right. I know I'm like, oh, yeah, what do you mean it doesn't feel right? Because this is college basketball still. And yes, we talked about Carson Beck last Wednesday, hadn't gone to class in 2 years. I'd already graduated. In a way, Nick, this is where, again, we're blurring these lines now here. I think probably worse in because I think Nick, it's only worse in college basketball because we've had more coaches in the last 3 weeks, from Calipari to Mark Pope to other coaches who have just, in a way, beaten the daylights and the brakes off the NCAA for allowing this crap to happen.
Yeah, and I'm trying to find the statement from Charlie Baker because
he basically said we will not grant eligibility to any player who signed an NBA contract, a 10-day contract, or played in the NBA G League. But as you said, though, in the dungeon last night, what gives a state judge the jurisdiction to overrule the governing body of college athletics and say, no, you can play, son, on top of the fact that we find out it's collusion because that damn judge is a donor to the Alabama athletics?
Yeah, it says he signed a 2-way contract with an NBA team, although he had not played in it. Okay, so I think I said this to you the other night also. You can play in the G League, but technically you didn't play in an NBA game. So they say technically you can go back to college, I guess, in technicality. But again, how does that make any sense, though?
To me, it makes no sense. And that's why it was such a weird ordeal, because it's like, how do you handle this? And especially, Nick, and again, I don't mean to keep bringing up my university, but again, it happened on my watch because I just happened to see, I saw this play out in real time. But now, again, we could obviously do this too, like anyone can. In a way, I mean, can I make the oddball comparison?
Yeah.
This is exactly why people think the Dodgers are killing baseball. Because not every university, now, yes, Santa Clara is in my conference, but they have a bit more at their disposal than my school does right now. Again, that can obviously change, though, if there's a big, a big infusion of money from, some tech billionaire who lives in San Diego, for example. But not every university, not every Major League Baseball team can spend and spend and spend and spend and spend and take out loans and what have you to be able to afford to get a player like, the guy at Baylor or any other players who have, gone that route, or in this case, with Charlie Betty Yako at Alabama.
So I found it in a USA Today article, and the reason I had trouble finding it is because it was on December 30th of last year. In a statement released Tuesday, December 30th, NCAA President Charlie Baker said the NCAA, quote, has not and will not grant eligibility to prospective or returning men's college basketball players who have signed an NBA contract or a two-way deal with an NBA franchise and its G League affiliate.
So in theory, from that writing, Darlin and Bediako should be not allowed to play college basketball.
To be not eligible.
Should not be eligible to play for the Tide or for the Broncos.
The technical term should be not eligible. That's really what the term should be, because by eligibility rules, you signed in a G League affiliate with a two.
You essentially went pro, and now you're coming back to play in college basketball.
So the Baylor center James Najee, the number 31 overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. That should have been where the eligibility ended. As soon as you got drafted by a team, that's where the eligibility should end.
And I think he got drafted by Memphis.
I think so. And it says he spent the past 5 years playing in the EuroLeague.
And I think they even wanted to do that too, to punish, or not punish, but deem those ineligible if they had even gone overseas after they were drafted, I think, too.
It says, though Najee has played in the NBA Summer League, he has never played in an NBA game. Because of that, he was ruled eligible by the NCAA and is expected to play for Baylor, which he is. So because he didn't play in a technical NBA game, he played overseas. That's technically not NBA games.
And then we have the Bediako situation where, again, he had been on a two-way contract, I believe, with San Antonio and I think with Detroit. Yes, because I think he played for the Motor City Cruise, who's their G League affiliate in Detroit, or suburban Detroit, I think. And then, Darlin had played for the Blue Coats and the Ignite franchise, for the Ignite franchise folded. So that right there should have killed them being able to come back to college basketball.
Baker also said in social media, quote, rules have long permitted schools to enroll and play individuals with no prior college experience mid-year, while the NCAA has prevailed on the vast majority of eligibility-related lawsuits. Recent outlier decisions enjoining the NCAA on a nationwide basis from enforcing rules that have been on the books for decades without even having a trial are wildly destabilizing. And it says, I will be working with D1 leaders in the weeks ahead to protect college basketball from these misguided attempts to destroy the American institution. So,
wrong one.
What was the one you were? Why?
Go on.
No, I was just saying that. Yes.
We have a follow-up to this story, Nick, on Front Office Sports from Alex Schiffer of FOS.
Okay.
There will be a new judge to rule on the fate of Alabama center Charles Bediako's college eligibility.
Really?
As of Wednesday morning, Judge Jim Roberts has now recused himself from Bediako's case against the NCAA 2 days after the governing body filed a motion seeking his removal from the case. Judge Roberts and his wife are listed as active donors on the Alabama Crimson Tide's Foundation's website, with lifetime contributions between $100K and $249,000.
What?
Roberts' wife, Mary Turner, is also an attorney representing Darius Miles, Bediako's former teammate in a capital murder trial case.
What?
Whoa.
In part, the motion reads that the NCAA has contended that the NCAA contends that proceeding in this court has created a impermissible appearance of impropriety because of the intense media scrutiny and public speculation surrounding the court's relationship with the school and its athletics programs and student athletes. Bediako's legal team did not oppose the recusal when it was filed, and the case will, in fact, be reassigned. And to clarify real quick, last week, Judge Roberts allowed Bediako to get a temporary restraining order that let the former pro return back to Alabama, where he played for 2 years, and then declared for the 2023 NBA draft. He was an undrafted player, but signed a two-way deal with the San Antonio Spurs the same year of 23. Never did play in an NBA game, though, but was, though, listed on the Pistons G League affiliate roster as of last January 17th, so last week, in with the Motor City Cruise.
I mean, are you really surprised that bias was involved by the judge and his wife?
What?
So that's why he got the injunction. I mean, dare I say, was involved?
Gotta be. Pay him off.
Think about it. I mean, you got the injunction. You got what you wanted. Your wife was a lawyer, represented a teammate who, what you said, allegedly committed
murder case. Yeah.
So we're back again in this political circumstance where politics rue the day and politics determine how money's going to be made. And unfortunately, it's led to this whole issue with the NCAA and Charlie Baker, the head of the NCAA, who said, "Oh, we're not going to allow it." I actually agree with him. He didn't allow it. The corrupt political system allowed it.
Yep.
Because there's no such thing as a clean political system or jury system anymore.
I mean, I sat through jury duty last Tuesday. Didn't get picked, but still, I have been a part of a jury until I was excused from the case because I know.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I know the Superior Court judge president because he was my youth baseball assistant coach, and I have numerous friends who work for the sheriff's office here too, so they exempted me.
But yeah, again, politics controlling the narrative, unfortunately, and it is what it is. I mean, they're going to have to put eligibility rules in place if they really want to get this right.
Cannot agree more, Nick. All right, we'll kind of skip ahead here real quick to another issue involving college athletics, Nick. But finally, we have a settlement between Darian Mensah and the Duke University Blue Devils, as Darian Mensah, the quarterback of the Blue Devils, and Duke have now settled their lawsuit, which clears the way for the QB to commit to the Miami, Florida Hurricanes. The Blue Devils had sued to block the transfer based upon his multi-year NIL contract, but the settlement does confirm that even the strongest contracts can't keep an athlete from leaving town. Nick, now that Mensah has successfully fought his way to Miami, are NIL contracts effectively useless for schools trying to retain talent in the new age of the portal and NIL eras?
What's the point of having a contract if you're able to break it and get out and go somewhere else? Yep. I mean, if you signed a deal, first of all, if I was Duke and you're putting this money in and you say, "Hey, we'll give you a 2-year deal," I think is what his NIL contract was.
Yes.
I would say, "Listen, moron." I said, you signed a deal with us. We're paying you a lot of money. Stop trying to jump ship. And this is the problem with the NIL system. And you know what? Can we just not call it NIL anymore? Can we just call it free agency, like I've been saying for many, many months since they started these rules?
Because, I know, right?
What is the point of a contract anymore for NIL if these guys are just going to jump ship to other schools?
Yeah.
How do you stop this? Unless the NCAA puts in a rule that says if you sign an NIL deal, you have to fulfill your deal.
I don't know. I mean, we have long obviously been talking at length about this. Quick heads up again from the press wires. But again, we talked a bit about this. But again, the Bucks officially now are listening to offers on Giannis per The Athletic that just came across the news feed in the last 5 minutes or so. We'll see what that happens. I mean, I've heard reports of that from Yahoo that the Bucks will wait till the offseason to probably move him because of the calf injury he suffered. Poor guy. I mean, 31 years old, having all these calf problems. But again, that's some developing story, I should say, hot off the press here on PR. Again, Nick, I don't know. I mean, I mean, this is becoming more and more complicated by the passing day, week, month, hour, minute, and second with this whole entire era. I think that finally college basketball got it right. As we long said, the portal can't be open while we're in the middle of a season. Like it needs to be, like it can be open for 30 days, 15 days, a week, 7 days, 10 days, or 120 days, but only after the season actually ends. Not when your team season ends, when the full season concludes. And I think that's what's getting lost in translation. Again, bravo to college basketball. Again, I think they have now shortened the window, and now it's directly after both the men's and women's basketball national champions are crowned. but there's still no right way, I think, Nick, and this is just gonna keep happening every year for the next decade, it feels like, at this rate with where we're at.
But again, the NCAA does not have an answer to fix this issue. Like, okay, so you put in NIL so these guys can make money, but if they're signing deals and trying to get out from under them, though,
They basically are.
well, I thought last time I checked, when you sign a deal, it's a legal document, right? Like,
Yes.
so if you're signing a legal document, you shouldn't be able to force your way out. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, he committed to Miami before getting out of his deal.
Yes.
Shouldn't it be the opposite? Shouldn't you get out of the deal first and then you go commit to another school?
I mean, you would think, right?
First of all, at first I was for this NIL stuff because players were being undervalued, and most people don't know, but the NIL thing started because of the video games, because their names were being licensed and used in games, and they were not given any value back in return.
And a great plug for next Friday, our next episode of Benchmarks, we talk about, not Benchmarks, but Small Market Edition. I talk about Reggie Bush.
Oh, with that whole issue with the agent and all that stuff, and how he lost his Heisman. But
Yes.
But in my opinion, I would just say F you to the NIL stuff right. Yes.
This one's actually, Nick, a bit of an interesting story that I did just come across within the last couple of minutes, within, I'd say, the last hour. A third Major League Baseball team is now being sued over junk fees per FOS, but the Giants are now accused of charging hidden junk fees that illegally inflated ticket cost and were not disclosed until checkout, which now marks the third Major League franchise behind the Nationals and the Red Sox to be sued over similar allegations in the past 5 months. This is, again, per Front Office Sports. The proposed class action lawsuit filed in a California state federal courtroom has now alleged that the Giants, along with both the Red Sox and the Nationals, systematically cheated fans out of millions of dollars, ranging over the last few years in the course of many years through false advertising of the ticket prices, per the court filing and per FOS Sports earlier today, with claiming that the class, or it claims that the class includes hundreds of thousands of consumers who were deceived into spending more than advertised for their tickets to a Giants home game. Nick, obviously, we know that Ticketmaster has been in the spotlight for all of this stuff that has happened over the course of the last several years. There's even, I think, a bill out here, I think that has been passed, though, regarding the fact that you cannot add on more fees. You have to give the price of the ticket up front. It can't be at checkout. It can't be this, or it can't be that. So I'll be eager to see, though, Nick, if more teams get sued, though, for these practices, though.
Well, you remember the whole Taylor Swift snap
Yes.
that happened with the tickets, and that led to, because people were buying up tickets in bulk
And then reselling them for like 5 times the amount of money.
They were scalping, essentially. Yes. And say, oh, look, if I buy hundreds of thousands of tickets, I can take the price that was, well, already hundreds of dollars as it was already, because Taylor Swift tickets are not cheap, and selling them for hundreds or thousands of dollars, which now they're making it nearby impossible to buy, more than 2 sets of tickets now?
I mean, can I be frank for a minute? I do kind of miss the old days of people holding up their signs. I need tickets, and actually doing the deed in the parking lot of the stadium, where you actually gave them the paper tickets. But now, again, with how technology is evolving,
can't do that anymore.
I know, and I told Nick on late on Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, that me and a coworker were going to Intuit Dome to watch the Clippers play the Sixers on Monday night. And I was reading to Nick, they make it impossible in a way to get into the damn building because of how, the world has evolved, though, when it comes to, technology. Again, obviously, Ballmer being a Microsoft guru at one point in time. But I mean, everything, though, like I had to set up all this crap to go to the game on Monday. I still am waiting for the tickets to come across the app, though. But I do, Nick, kind of miss those days, though, when people would actually do the deed in the parking lot. Because now, again, it's like virtually impossible because everything is now gone mobile or digital.
Well, now you need, like for Major League Baseball, you need the ballpark app.
You need the ballpark app. Some teams require the team app. So, like, just for example, let me check my phone because I showed Nick on.
Well, I have it right here.
Yeah, I have. Well, and for other sports too, like the Ducks have their own Honda Center and Ducks app, for example. That's the only way you can get into the game. So save the tickets to your Apple Wallet. San Diego Wave and SDFC have their own apps for ticketing. I have Access. I've got Ticketmaster.
The ballpark app is making you sign in with your MLB.com account now. That's new.
And see, I always have to change my flipping password because I forget them half the time because I'm in a rush to get my tickets onto my phone.
But you now have to put the tickets, I think, in the ballpark app. I think
that, or you can put them down onto your phone's wallet.
But it's such a pain. Like, and just remembering your tickets are in your phone.
So this is so for Monday, this is what they call the Intuit Dome Clippers identity pass.
Oh my God.
So this basically acts as your ticket. And by the way, that's the nautical flag era logo of San Diego that they used to have at one point in time. But
that's
literally
ridiculous, though.
But it's either you opt in for that or you opt in for the selfie with the facial recognition technology like your boy Dolan has at MSG, for example. But again, they make it though, Nick. And again, I was reading because like I've never been here before. I'm eager to see the dome and root for the former San Diego Clippers of Los Angeles on Monday versus Philadelphia. But like I've been doing a bunch of research and like trying to make sure I'm like prepared to go to this arena for the first time because of just how technologically advanced they have made the building, in Inglewood, and the Clippers actually having their own home arena. But I mean, Nick, I'll be frank, I kind of feel bad for like my parents if they ever go to a game with me because of just how much the sports world is now evolving. And again, I'm all for embracing technology, Nick. We've talked about embracing AI here when it comes to how we generate our scripts. Again, we go and double check, triple check, quadruple check. Again, use it for the right reasons, like coming up with names for shows or segments or for a show rundown, for example. But I mean, I do kind of like feel bad for like my parents, for example, who they aren't as tech savvy. If they ever go to a game with me nowadays, like I have to make sure that I can take care of everything for that.
You need a phone. You need a smart device just to get into any stadium you go to now. And
frankly, to even take public transportation.
Right. But I'm saying
like flying or taking the train as you and I do, or what have you.
I remember walking into MLB stadiums with paper tickets, but the reason they had to stop doing that is because people were taking the barcodes and trying to resell them, and then people would try to go in and say, "Oh, sorry, it doesn't work."
Well, that and then the Rona came around 6 years ago.
Oh, by the way,
what we got?
So more on the NFL Hall of Fame.
Oh boy.
Former Giants quarterback Eli Manning was not voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame for the second straight year.
What?
Two-time Super Bowl MVP unfortunately fell short again for the second straight year.
What?
I mean, I had a feeling he was not going to get in the first year, but
I mean, I could have told you that, but still, the guy's won 3 rings. Come on now.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going on in Ohio over there, but
they are really making this a difficult process for anybody to get into the damn Hall of Fame, it seems like.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Yeah.
Yikes. I guess we'll have to see who else doesn't get voted in if more leaks out about who doesn't make the cut.
Well, you know.
Yeah, by the way, awful announcing reports that Jimmy Johnson, legendary former Cowboys head coach, he called the voters assholes and cowards who snubbed Bill Belichick in the Hall of Fame voting process.
Not surprising. Hall of Fame legend right there.
And then your boy, Skip Bayless, says that Belichick did not deserve to be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay. Are we really surprised about that?
Of course not.
I think he's doing that more for clicks than for what he actually believes in.
By the way, Nick, as well, as if we didn't have enough of the issues plaguing the top 25 voting selections for college football, I think you heard the story, too, about the voter who did not vote for Who was it that in college football that kept voting like very weirdly with their top 25?
Oh, that woman. What's her name? Oh, I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Forever Power 5 guys would know.
But either way, though, Nick, it happened though too with the last segment regarding Charles Bediako. One voter did not put them in the top 25 because of him being on the team.
Oh, come on. That has nothing to do with it. Come on, man. That has nothing to do with ranks. This is what I'm talking about. Media bias falling into place. And this is why I don't like the fact that we vote on rankings, whether it's college basketball or college football. If you just do it with records, then media bias doesn't get in the way.
Yeah, and then DMAR can go on his soapbox. Well, all wins aren't created equal. The group of five The group of five doesn't need to be in the CFP because no one cares about Mr. Mid-Major in San Diego, for example, when it comes to football or basketball and blah, 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 blah.
I can give you one small argument for that. I'm not defending it, but I can give you one small argument that some of those teams have no business being.
They may not have any business, but they earn the right to get there, sadly. Yes, it may be 75-0, but they still should get the chance to play against those schools.
But some of these teams were not even at 500.
Doesn't matter to me. Put them in.
I don't know. I mean, the whole Notre Dame thing, which we talked about with nonsense, with that they are guaranteed a spot if they're in the top 12. That
right there is a bad look in general.
But I don't know. They got to get the system right, but they're too busy focusing on wanting to get to 14, 16, and eventually 24 teams in the college football playoffs. I mean, we should just have another version of March Madness at this point.
Pretty soon it'll be at 36 teams pretty soon.
I'm telling you, we should just have another version of March Madness because that's where we're heading.
Yeah, I mean, good Lord. Just make it stop.
All right, what's next?
All right, Nick, but we'll move on to here a bit ahead of schedule here, but let's get to, speaking of Callan Clark, Nick, per reports gathered, but NBC has announced that Callan Clark, the Indiana Fever superstar, will join the first telecast of Basketball Night in America as a special contributor for the debut of SNB on NBC when the Lakers take on the Knicks from Madison Square Garden. Nick, do you at all believe, though, that NBC might be using Callan to save the NBA ratings, or is she now a bigger broadcast draw than the NBA stars themselves on both the Lakers and Knicks?
That's literally what it is. It's a brand market draw.
I believe that we were able to confirm that she's only going to be on twice, I think, for SNB.
It's going to be like 2 to 4 appearances, they said, somewhere. Because they're not on every single Sunday. Remember that. But this is clearly a broadcast draw. This has nothing to do with, this is twofold. You can look at this. With her being on the broadcast, she's a name, obviously. So, but is it going to get people to watch? It's not like she's calling the game. She's a contributor to the pre-show and the broadcast in some way, shape, or form. If she was in the booth helping to call the game, that might change whether the ratings would be to spike it, because then people would want to watch Caitlin Clark in the booth calling NBA games. That would be insane. But this is just to put another, like how they put a bunch of former players in a studio, like for Prime Video for the NBA, or what they're doing for NBC, or what they do for ESPN, where they put all these former players. It's just another name draw for the studio show.
Yeah, I mean, I think she can provide some good insight, though. I think she'll be working with Maria and the rest of the NBC crew. I think they'll be on site, I think, for those first 2 SNB podcasts.
No, they're always on site. That was, I think they wanted to do that to actually be on site for the games now, especially with the NFL season being over, so she has no other conflicting schedules going into the summer, if there is a season for the WNBA. But because I think this is also a test because of the W coming to NBC soon, if it does.
About their coverage, maybe?
Well, about their coverage. And if she's great as a broadcaster, she can be like, because you're seeing this a lot now with platforms where they're taking current players. Hello, Damian.
I was going to say Kyle Lowry in Prime Video, I think, comes to mind, right?
I think Dame also, if I'm not mistaken. But
I think so.
But yeah, they're current players that are taking part in the media. And it used to be, oh no, that's a no-no to have a current player being in the studio show or contributing. But you know why players are doing this now, right? Because they need to know where their secondary career is going to be when they can't play anymore.
Yeah. I think especially now, just due to the fact of especially the WNBA having their problems right now. Like, what's the outlet going to be?
But again, money is not going to be an issue for her. She's made plenty of money. But maybe this is just more to stay involved in the game, maybe, and to be able to do something. I mean, would you turn down a gig as a player to be on the NBA on NBC? No, but
Absolutely not. Can I just take over for AI Jim Fagan next season because of the fact that the Clippers and Jazz game didn't have the audio for the pregame intro?
you were right. I think that technical producers might get fired or might not have a job anymore.
It was weird because, and I mentioned because I told Nick last night that it's like I told my folks they don't like basketball. I mean, they'll watch college basketball, they'll watch March Madness, they will not watch the NBA, just because where the game's at right now. And I literally said, I just want to watch the first minute 30 of the NBC broadcast for the NBA game. And they're like, well, why? Because I want to, watch the intro of it, and then you can have the remote, and you guys can watch NCIS or Magnum or whatever's on Ion or Heroes and Icons or whatever it is. And then they didn't have any audio when they first went to the telecast, and it went all the way through, where Jim Fagan's AI should be saying, "This is the NBA on NBC." Tonight, the Los Angeles Clippers take on the Utah Jazz. It's Coast to Coast Tuesday, presented by Kia. But some affiliates, Nick, apparently didn't have the audio, which was the Western markets that didn't have the first game of the night, because someone later on YouTube did publish the actual one from the Eastern markets that had game 1, and they picked up game 2.
I don't know if they all re-air the intro. Again, I think a lot of times they'll do an intro off the top, knowing that there is a doubleheader in some markets.
So what they did was that they did a bunch of B-roll of Salt Lake City, hey, home of the 2034 Winter Olympics. And then they had B-roll of Harden and Kawhi walking the Delta Center. Then they went to the laser title card and then went through the music and stuff. But there was no audio of any of that on the West Coast, apparently.
See, here's the problem. And I said this when the deal was originally announced. How they said, oh, well, it's optional based on I think that's a big mistake. If you want, why are you giving markets the option whether they carry a game or not?
Yeah, and especially, Nick, and from the Playback vault, that 11 o'clock Eastern time slot when we were on Playback about killed you because of how long of a day it was doing those 2 games.
That's true.
Do you have anything developing? It looks like as you were looking at your computer, like what the hell's going on here? What do we got?
Yes, this is actually, you know what? Let's transition to the topic because this is now going to take longer because
what do we got?
There's more live golf news.
Oh, yes. Well, let's get to Let's get to that real quick right now. So we'll kick off hour 3 officially here. Before we get to Nick's breaking news, though, Patrick Reed and Brooks Koepka both officially have left the LIV golf tour. Patrick Reed is now the latest domino to fall, effective this morning. Pat Reed will now play with the DP World Tour this season, with eyes on reinstatement for next year's PGA Tour in 2027. Reports now indicate that LIV has lost about $500 million on international events last year, and the Saudi PIF is reportedly running low on cash for new sports investments. But, Nick, what do you have off the wire?
All right, so you and I have been discussing this story for the last couple of weeks. The LIV Golf League is looking to sell minority stakes in multiple teams and is seeking $300 million valuations.
What?
They've hired Citigroup for the process. I mean, if this were me, this is, I think we need to say this about LIV right now. Peril? A little bit here?
Just a little bit, I think.
LIV Golf has never worked. Can we just admit that? off the
No.
front.
Never has and never it never has and it never will. As Nick said on the lounge on Monday, when we asked our golf guru, Ben Cruz, on Monday about Brooks coming back to playing his first event is this week in San Diego at Torrey Pines in La Jolla. And I had asked him the question, along with the fact, though, of my longstanding comparisons, whenever that other league pops up, what usually happens?
Not good things.
Is the American Football League still around?
No.
Is the American Basketball Association still around?
No.
Is the World Hockey Association still around?
No.
Because they all wound up merging with the bigger, better products of the NFL, NBA, and NHL. So now you wonder here, though, Nick, with another big name falling and Patrick Reed leaving LIV before their tour either starts or is already in operation. And now you're hearing the rumblings of the massive cash loss. Now they're selling off franchises in the league.
Well, minority stakes, but yes.
Minority stakes of the teams in the league. The downfall now is inevitable, if you ask me.
There was never any money to be made. The model of treating it like MLB player contracts, where essentially they're paying golfers $125 million, $200 million, $300 million. Again, why do you think Major League Baseball is going through the struggle right now that they are currently?
Due to the fact of what the Dodgers have been able to pay on top of just where the money is at right now in the market.
Contracts. No, the player contracts too.
Yes, contracts.
They're going this way. And what's happening to the revenue and the TV money? It's going this way. You know the whole in math where they teach you the graph, which way this side goes down and this side goes up? Like
yes.
that's what we're dealing with right now here. Live Golf, which is obviously backed by the Saudi Public Interest Fund, which again, I think I told you it's worth like $950 billion and it's going to be worth $2 trillion by 2030. I don't know. I don't even know if they care that they're losing $500 million. Do they?
No, they don't care. It's chump change.
But you would think they'd have to cut their losses at some point, right? Because $500 million is a lot of money to lose. Just saying.
It is.
But this whole let's give golfers contracts and money up front, and then they're playing for $20 million prize funds. Because you know what they tried to do? And business never works this way. When what happens when you throw money at something long enough?
It doesn't work out usually.
Because you could only throw money at something for so long. If you're not good at business and all you're doing is throwing money at something, eventually it's going to fail. Eventually you're going to end up bankrupt. Eventually you're going to end up in the red. Live Golf never worked. The problem is it had the reputation of the Saudi Public Interest Fund behind it. So they had tried to put it on CW. It didn't work.
Oh, God, that was a nightmare.
Now they're on Fox and Fox Business News and all this.
FS1.
By the way, ironically, thinking back to full circle, the politicking of it, too, being on Fox Sports.
Yep.
This is a problem. That's why you saw Brooks Koepka jump ship. That's why you're seeing Patrick Reed jump ship. And then you have idiots like Bryson DeChambeau, who said, well, I don't need to go back to the PGA Tour because I have my YouTube leverage that I can use.
So I guess, Nick, with two of it, so I guess, Nick, the question at hand is, with two of the biggest villains heading back to the traditional tour, are we now witnessing the beginning of the end for LIV as a viable entity? I say yes. Where do I sign up?
I think it's already happened. If you want my actual opinion of it, I think that
agrees.
I think Liv is already doomed because of all the money. But like I said, there's so much freaking money involved that they're just going to keep throwing money at it, and they're going to keep giving these players money. But I found it interesting. Patrick Reed came out and said the negotiations didn't go well, so that's why he's going back. Now, he's taking a gap year to play on the DP World Tour.
Yeah, the DP, yeah.
And the PGA is going to reinstate him in 27. I think is what the report said. Now, is he going to have to pay the dumb penalties too?
I think everyone that did will have to pay those penalties.
So why were only 4 players allotted this?
They had like those weird those weird things, like you had to be this, you had to do this, you had to do that, stuff of that caliber.
You know that doesn't add up, right?
Not at all.
Live Golf has been a complete effing failure. Okay? And you can only throw so much money at a situation until it completely tumbles. It reminds me of the milk crate challenge when people were running across.
Yes.
Like the Live Golf is the milk crate challenge, where
Yes.
you think you're smarter, you're outsmarting everybody, that you can run across the milk crates, but what you don't realize is that it's impossible, and then you fall down and bust your ass and hope you don't break something.
Correct.
That's Live Golf, essentially.
All right, Nick, let's get to hour 3. We're going to divert away to a story that we've been following for a bit, but now we can finally put a nail in the coffin for this one, Nick. Of course, this is the very out of bounds, really out of control manhunt for former Canadian snowboarder Ryan Wedding, 44 years old, who was on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list, had voluntarily surrendered at the U.S. Embassy in Mexico on Thursday, per a social media post from Mexican Security Minister Omar Garcia Harfuch. He had been believed to be hiding in Mexico for over 10 years, according to a post from FBI Director Mr. Kash Patel. Ryan Wedding is a former Olympic snowboarder and accused of running and participating in a transnational drug trafficking operation that routinely shipped hundreds of kilograms of cocaine from Colombia through Mexico, Southern California to the U.S. and Canada as a member of the Sinaloa drug cartel, per Mr. Patel's post. Wedding did compete for Canada in the O2 Olympic Games in Salt Lake City, where he was 24th overall in the parallel giant slalom event. His initial court appearance will take place on Monday in a L.A., California federal courtroom. 2 years ago, both Wedding and Andrew Clark, second in command, were charged with running a criminal enterprise, committing murder in connection with that enterprise, and conspiring to possess, distribute, and also export cocaine. That September, those charges were augmented in an indictment that accused both Wedding and Clark and 14 other defendants of attempted murder, and alleging that they arranged the shipment of roughly 60 tons of cocaine through the countries of Colombia, Mexico, California, and Canada with long-haul semi-trucks. Back in March of last year, I should say, Wedding was added to the top 10 most wanted list by the FBI, with the federal government offering a $10 million reward for information that could lead to his arrest. Back in November of last year, a federal grand jury indictment was unsealed, charging him and others the same day that 10 defendants accused of being involved in the enterprise were in fact arrested. In total, 36 people have been arrested for their alleged roles in the drug trafficking organization. Akil Davis, the assistant director in charge of the FBI's Los Angeles field office, said during a Friday press conference. Mr. Davis also noted in part that the FBI, in partnership with other law enforcement agencies, including in Canada and Mexico, have seized mountains of drugs, plus cash, weapons, a Mercedes-Benz, dozens of motorcycles, valuable artwork, and jewelry as part of their overall investigation. There are still defendants on the run, Davis said, and the government is offering $2 million rewards for information leading to additional arrest. Nick, obviously, we had kind of talked about this a little bit in a small capacity in passing a few weeks ago, but now here, finally, Ryan Wedding finally voluntarily surrendering for his role in this ongoing scheme involving cocaine and smuggling drugs.
Okay, so I have a lot of questions here. Did he have like a fall from grace as an Olympian?
You would assume so, right? With this kind of an ordeal involving that and involving
Was he a good Olympian? I don't even know.
I mean, he finished 24th in O2.
That's it?
Yep.
I mean, it is a lot of pressure to be an Olympic athlete. Let's not.
1,000%.
But a lot of these people have to have jobs in between, because you only compete every 4 years.
Yes.
So, man, I could take this a whole lot of directions. Because I'm reading the story myself. Like, It says that he was described as a modern day iteration of Pablo Escobar.
Yes.
And it says that he had four different aliases. Is that how effed up his life has become?
I mean, you would think, right? It sure seems that way. I mean, and more importantly, Nick, I have been to Sinaloa, Mexico, which is where Culiacan and Mazatlan are located. And of course, Culiacan was also known for being the home Mexican state of Julio Urias, the former disgraced Dodgers pitcher, who again had the numerous sexual assault charges after his domestic abuse. And we were there for a baseball tournament, and the lead guy in charge of the Mexican Baseball Federation literally had to tell the cartels, no violence. We've got the whole world coming here for a week and a half. We need to, clean up our image in a way. But I mean, I tell you, man, you get on the bus, you've got armored guards with loaded AK-47s in front of the bus, behind the bus, and on the corners of the hotel.
Wait, for you guys going?
Yes. Yeah, it was surreal going to and from the ballpark every game day.
Wait a minute. Okay, now I have a whole heck of a lot of other questions now. So, how old were you, first of all?
7th grade, 2007.
7th grade? First of all, was this even safe?
They ruled it safe, and thankfully it was. Like, nothing happened, thankfully, due to the fact of, some strings got pulled politically, if not within, the cartels. I'm sure you heard of the Arellano Felix family, who was notorious down in Sinaloa. But I mean, it was very surreal going there. But I mean, nothing went wrong. Every game that was played was sold out. All the games were on local television down there. Same thing happened 3 years later when we went back there. We went to a different city, Mazatlan, Mexico, which is the same latitude and longitude as Honolulu. So we were in like a tropical spot. Same ordeal though. Like this was a more laid back part of the state. But I mean, trust me though, going there and having to see Mexican army soldiers holding loaded weapons though in front of your bus, behind the bus, and on the corners of the hotel was just because all the teams were staying there, not just the American teams, but Japan, Italy, Mexico, Australia, all the nations who came.
How long were you there?
About a week and a half.
Did you sleep?
Oh yeah, we did.
You were able to?
Yeah.
I certainly wouldn't have.
Yeah, no, I mean, nothing broke out, though, but definitely you wonder, though, did Ryan Wedding have a fall from grace, though, when he got hooked up with the wrong people being in Mexico?
I mean, does this go back to a situation where it's like the gambling ring we talked about? I know it's not the same thing, but like you just have too many connections and too much power, and you start doing things that are way below the belt, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, and I mean, especially when you get named to be on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. Sheesh.
Well, we talked about this, a month or two ago when it first kind of sensed it, and like he just seemed like a bad
dude in general. Yeah.
And I think you said Kingpin, right? Because I remember hearing that from the original story. And it says last year the FBI released photos of Wedding's motorcycle collection.
Yes.
They seized in Mexico. It was worth about $40 million. How much freaking drugs are you selling that you have a motorcycle collection worth over $40 million?
Nick, also developing, if not just coming out, but the first leaked, or not really linked, but leaked. But as we all know, Apple is dropping the other subscription fee for MLS Season Pass this season, finally, after many years of pushback. They have finally also unveiled the first night of what they're calling Walmart Saturday Showdown for the opening weekend coming up in just over 3 weeks in February. The weekend will be highlighted by the defending champions of Inter Miami CF playing LAFC at the LA Memorial Coliseum because of how big of a draw it will be for the opening game. The other dates that will be on Saturday nights will be RSL Seattle, Columbus and Chicago, the Galaxy and Sporting Kansas City, and Philadelphia, Chicago. All those are the first batch of Saturday primetime games that will be on the Apple TV app and also on other MLS platforms. As of right now, Nick, there is, at this time, no other national TV games that have been released yet, but I'm not surprised that Messi and Inter Miami gets game one. But also, Nick, the Messi effect, the Coliseum will host LAFC versus Inter Miami opening weekend.
I mean, not surprising. Like, MLS is going to do everything in their power to get whatever ratings and money they can get behind. MLS has got to figure out, like, being behind the Apple paywall was a complete disaster. Like,
oh, 1,000%. I mean,
like,
I will agree with that until I'm blue in the face.
I mean, when they were on ESPN, I used to see the games all the time. They could go to Fox. That's more of a soccer-centric network.
And I'm looking through the schedule on Fox Sports. The first game that Fox will carry is Cincinnati, Atlanta on February 21st at 10:45 a.m. Pacific time. Or 1:45 p.m. Pacific time, I should say.
I don't know.
Because again, Nick, because in a way, Nick, this kind of goes back to when we were on Playback, and Trevor and I wanted to do a bunch, like I think 10 games. We got 2 of them because of the fact that they were on Fox Sports and not on Apple TV.
Well, that'll save that question for Brandon Towers next week when we have our good pal. By the way, I want to make it very clear that it's not an attack to him when we have him on next week. Brandon
was like a liaison basically between upper management of Playback and all of the partner accounts. So Brandon was very open though with Nick about certain things regarding, we had asked about the WBC, we asked about the Winter Olympics, and then when we were told no, we were very much puzzled. Obviously, though, it led to what happened on December 12th.
I mean, that should have been the hint that something was up, but that's neither here nor there. I do have another story. Which this was more conspiracy than. As I'm pressing buttons by accident. I want to grab this over here because people were talking about it. So we were talking about the NFL Super Bowl graphic.
Yes.
So if you look at this graphic here, do you notice something?
Is that Sam Darnold and Drake May at the very front?
At the very front of this was the graphic at the very beginning of the season. Sam Darnold and Drake May are at the front.
And why in the world is Sauce Gardner right behind them when the Jets don't do anything right?
Okay, forget everybody else, though. The point is...
Yes, interesting. Drake May and Sam Darnold. So the Boston Patriots playing the Seattle Sea Pigeons in the Super Bowl, right?
Right. So Complex Sports wrote a very funny description right next to it. NFL scriptwriters cooked with this one. In September, the NFL uploaded this graphic that coincidentally has Drake May and Sam Darnold closest to the Super Bowl trophy all the way in the front. Now, this is about as conspiratorial as it gets.
Like we talked about on Monday on the lounge where the logos, had colors in them, and then people try to put 2 and 2 together about which teams were going to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but for 7 or 8 years, it was pretty accurate.
Yeah.
But that was all coincidence, to say the least.
What?
But what do you make of this, though?
Whatever.
It's stupid, right? It's conspiratorial.
It's
but it is funny, though, that Sam Darnold and Drake May are the ones that are...
It is pretty funny, but it's also stupid.
So I thought you'd enjoy that one because people are like on the conspiracy train thinking that, the NFL knew they wanted Sam Darnold versus Drake May in the Super Bowl. No, they don't.
Make it make sense to me.
What are you talking about? They
Make it make sense to me.
There's so many other quarterbacks. They would want Patrick Mahomes or Lamar or Josh Allen.
You really think they wanted Drake May and Sam Ghost Darnold playing for the Lombardi?
I mean, Drake May has some potential. Let's be real about that. But to say that they wanted Drake May versus Sam Darnold, come on, man. The conspiracy theories are out. Where's the tinfoil hats?
Oh, my God. Just stop, people.
What else do we have? Or are we back on...
We're back on track, Nick, to get to this very puzzling story from Down Under before we get to another story from Down Under. But, of course, Nick, former Warriors center Andrew Bogut and current Australian basketball player Jason Caddy are calling out Sixers legend Allen Iverson for his visit to Australia for Hoops Fest. Jason Caddy called it a shit show of his lateness and lack of engagement, while Bogut called AI a shit human being for his behavior at a children's cancer charity event. Nick, does Allen Iverson's behavior down under permanently damage the NBA's ability to market its legends brand in international markets like Australia?
This has nothing to do with the NBA. This has to do with Allen Iverson as a person. I mean, Allen Iverson has had a reputation for years of being a shit human being, according to the quote from many people. He had personal health issues and mental health issues, and I think he went bankrupt at one point until he got the lifetime deal with Reebok, which gave him a lot of money.
Correct.
You and I kind of read through the story to kind of figure out what, because you have to give everybody the benefit of the doubt until you read through a whole story. But apparently he was supposed to meet with kids, and there was cancer patients, and I want to see if I can find the story one more time.
We read the story last night. It was very puzzling.
Oh, here. So the headline was Cash Grab. Andrew Bogut calls out Allen Iverson's Australia visit. Allen Iverson facing some heat from down under. Iverson was the headliner for Hoops Fest, which a bunch of NBA players have gone to over the years. An event organized by the National Basketball League in Perth. Several current and former Australian basketball players claim Iverson was, quote, a difficult guest. NBL veteran Jason Caddy called Iverson's NBL appearance a shit show, saying the 11-time NBA All-Star was constantly late to events and didn't speak. Well,
Really?
then why are you down there then? First interview, they asked him how Australia was or something, and he just laughed. Said, quote, I haven't left my room. I just felt it was really disappointing from someone that I really looked up to, and now I have a lot of people have as well. Two-time NBL MVP Chris Ansay, who played 3 years in the NBA for the Mavericks and the Bulls, said Iverson also no-showed a fan event in Perth filled with children, including some who flew 5 hours from Sydney.
What?
I don't know what to say. Allen Iverson's a bad guy. He's a bad guy.
You would think, though, Nick, for a guy who I think is in the Hall of Fame now, would actually act and be, like, personable. Especially, Nick, when it's a damn event for children battling cancer. To fly all that way and be as stone-faced and cold as he is. I know it's kind of his reputation again, because you're obviously working on a Benchmarks episode where we actually have part of the famed "we talking about practice" rant coming up in a couple of weeks.
You're talking about practice, not a game, not a game,
not a game. We talking about practice, and I thought it was funny that the Best Damn Sports Show period actually played that rant and actually counted how many times he said practice on the air.
A practice counter, like I said last night.
They had a practice counter. I mean, and rightfully so, Nick. I'm glad, though, that people are calling out AI's bullshit, not artificial intelligence. I love that meme, though, too. I miss the days where AI meant you were talking about Allen Iverson, not artificial intelligence back in the day. But, hey, bravo to Bogut, bravo to Caddy, bravo to any player, Nick, who is calling out this BS. Again, how can you act that way at an event benefiting children's cancer? Come on now.
So the quote from Bogut says, quote, hopefully the NBL learns from jumping on any big name that comes to Australia for a cash grab. This is not the first time.
And I believe they gave examples of other players who had gone and actually were personable and approachable.
Kevin Garnett, who sometimes could be a little...
him and Ray Allen both, I think, went for what we had read last night.
Carmelo Anthony headlined Hoop Fest in 2024. Apparently was a really good guy, and he spoke to some teams in the NBL.
How about that?
Also, Garnett and Ray Allen were in attendance for the NBA NBL Melbourne series for the preseason games. Apparently, they both were stand-up guys, and they talked to everybody.
Good. As they should.
A Reddit user also claimed that Iverson attended another charity event for kids battling cancer in Melbourne, which is about a 4-hour flight from Perth, on January 22nd. The user said Iverson did not speak to the kids or sign any merchandise. He took photos with the children, but kept, quote, his hands in his pockets and did not smile.
Oh, my Lord, man. Come on, dude. Be better.
Like, I get it. Like, athletes sometimes are not the most personable people because they don't know any better. Because from a young age, what are they? They're being trained to be an athlete nonstop, 24/7. But
Yeah, you could still have some kind of personality, though.
you would think, I don't know. It's a bad look. Allen Iverson will always be a Hall of Famer and a really good player, but as a human being, a shit show. No pun intended.
I mean, if Ryan Leaf had his way, then AI would not be in the Hall of Fame because of how he acted at a charity event for kids in Australia.
Okay, but what do we say? The Hall of Fame is not the Hall of what is that dumb saying they say all the time? Hall of Good.
Yes, the Hall of Good.
Well, that's what Major League Baseball tries to do, right? Where
exactly.
Well, oh, sorry, you had one bad incident. We're the Hall of Good. You can't be in. The NFL's not the Hall of Good. They put assholes into the Hall of Fame and they get in.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some assholes in the MLB Hall of Fame too. I mean, you have David Ortiz, who's a cheater.
Yep.
I'm sure there's more people in the Hall of Fame who were cheaters.
Before it became a big thing with steroids.
So any Hall of Fame is not the Hall of Good, even though they try to act that way. You also have to remember one other thing. Hall of Fames are not usually associated with the leagues.
Correct. They're not.
Because if they were associated with the leagues, you don't think they would tell the Hall of Fames to knock it off the way they do the voting and stuff?
For sure. 1,000%.
They don't want to be responsible and pay for the Hall of Fame stuff, though.
There you go.
So, it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right, Nick, we are still way clear of our scheduled time frame right now, but we are, though, Nick, debuting a new segment today. That, of course, Nick, is going to be called, what we're calling, if I can get my banners to work here, because they don't want to work now all of a sudden.
I see it.
But, yeah, you can go ahead and change it over if you want to the next one. So, yes, we are going to be doing what we're calling Press Pass, Hard Pass. So, with that in mind, though, the rules are simple. We are going to lay out one polarizing topic from the week in sports media. If either of us give it a press pass, we are simply saying that we're in, we support this move, this statement, or this idea or strategy. It's professional, it's smart, and the right way to play it. But if we go hard pass, we're saying, no way, this is a miss, a mistake, or a total disaster. It's either unprofessional, ill-timed, or just flat out wrong. There is no middle ground, and no maybe next week. You either punch the ticket or you shred it. And, of course, Nick, the main topic, though, and we have talked over the past couple days in the evening, due to the nature of the Australian Open right now. Nick, we are going to be debating Amanda Anisimova calling political questions at the Australian Open clickbait and simply not relevant. Now, Nick, I think you could probably add more backstory to this with what has gone on, though, with the Australian Open and mainly the American players down under in Melbourne right now at this time.
Well, this incident is a unique one because, again, it's a tennis major in Australia. International events are treated way differently than the ones in the U.S. Sporting events are treated way different in the U.S. There's a lot of directions we could go with this. So I don't know which direction you really want to go with it, but
maybe give a bit of background about what has gone on, though, regarding the reporter who has been just all over the place.
So the guy's name is what? It's Owen. I'm looking it up right now because I don't remember. I just want to make sure I get the name correct. His name is Owen Lewis. So his name is Owen Lewis. He is a Canadian-based reporter who freelances for The Athletic. And basically, he has been going to the press conferences after the fights, and basically he's been asking about American politics and are you afraid to play under the American flag right now because of all the civil unrest going on in the country?
So, Nick, that brings us, though, to this exchange with the said writer and American tennis star Amanda Anisimova, who, again, got knocked out by fellow American Jess Pegula, who, again, also faced the same questioning as much as the rest of them have down in Australia. Nick, let's go and listen to this audio.
Oh, this is the one I was going to pull up. Yeah.
Yeah. So here is Amanda Anisimova responding to the question regarding the ongoing political issues back home here in the States. Let's have a listen.
Hey, Amanda. Congratulations on the win. I've been asking a lot of the American players just how it feels to play under the American flag right now, and I'm curious how you feel.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in America, so I'm always proud to represent my country. And yeah, a lot of us are doing really well, and it's great to see a lot of, great athletes on the women's side, on the men's side. So yeah, I feel like we're all doing a great job representing ourselves.
Sorry, do you mind if I follow up? Sure. Sorry, just to clarify a little, I mean, sort of in the context of the last year of everything that's been happening in the U.S., does that complicate that feeling at all?
Stop.
I don't think that's right.
Why are you asking that question? It's a freaking tennis event. It's a sports event. Who cares about politics at the time that you're playing in the middle of a tournament?
And let's hear Amanda's response.
I don't think that's relevant.
Hey Amanda, well played. One of the unique things about tennis is.
So, Nick, this is not just a Amanda Anisimova issue. Again, we talked about Jess Pegula facing the same scrutiny. Taylor Fritz, Ben Shelton also were plagued by the ongoing questioning about what has gone on here within the last couple of weeks. So, Nick, here is the question for press pass or hard pass. Is Amanda Anisimova's not relevant response a pro-boundary that every athlete should adopt, press pass, or a hard pass because global stars have a civic responsibility to address the state of their country when the world is watching? Your thoughts on where you stand on this, and more than anything else, I think Amanda Anisimova handled this about as perfectly as anyone could have done and should have done in that situation.
Yes, she handled it very well. I think all the U.S. players,
all of them, yes,
handled it well. Taylor Fritz, just for context, because he was asked about it too. And I have it if we want to listen to it.
We have a lot of time to fill, so we're good.
So I thought his response was fairly accurate too. Ignore the source because it's just where the video is. But here's Taylor Fritz talking about it.
Hi, Taylor. Congrats on the win. I'm asking all the American players this, and there's a lot happening.
Stop.
All right. He says the same thing every time. You notice that, right? When he starts his question.
Hey, Taylor, congrats on the win. I've been asking all the American players. Okay, right there, you're setting yourself up for failure already.
But why isn't you and I should know this, working in media.
Why is PR and the communication staff not pulling the mic away from him when you know that this has been already going on? Like, are you not catching the pattern here if you're in PR or the communication staff of the tournament?
I mean, in my opinion, the PR person should be fired for allowing all this questioning to go on. And I don't know if you feel the same way about it, but this is the PR's job to stop this bullshit questioning from going on.
Correct. And they are simply not doing their job. Now, Nick, let's kind of in a way go back a little bit in the archive. Remember when we heard about Clippers Media Day?
Yes.
How Ramona Shelburne and fellow writers or radio hosts had even huddled before they were going to talk to Kawhi Leonard at Media Day for the Clippers.
Yes. Yep.
And how they were asking about the season, his health. But, Nick, the literal second that someone mutters aspiration, the mic is pulled away from them and they say no further questions. So where is that kind of iron fist ruling or iron fist person in this media scrum with any of the American-born players? Why are they sitting on their ass and letting these questions continue to pop up like pimples on prom night?
So I just want to point out one differentiation with that, because that was a team-run media situation with the Clippers. This is different because
this is tournament-wide, yes.
This is tournament-wide, so there is a little bit of a differentiating factor involved in when it comes to the team, which was running the press conference. It wasn't a national network. It wasn't. So the team PR has the right to say, hey, we're done. No more questions, even though I find that wrong every time they do it. But that's censorship, if you really want the full honesty of it. When they
Correct.
pulled the mic away, now, what do they say about journalism all the time? As long as you're asking legitimate questions about relevant topics, you can't censor journalism or censor the media because they're asking a question.
Yes.
Now, but people can say, but Nick, Callan, like this guy's technically asking about a relevant topic in the U.S.
Yeah, but to go back about 2 hours in the earlier block, does it pertain to the sport,
No.
or does it pertain to Taylor Fritz's victory
No.
in this
You're
matter?
right. No, you're 100% right. But I'm just saying people are going to say, oh, well, you can't restrict my freedom as a journalist to ask a question because technically I'm asking about a relevant topic in America, which is dumb, but that's unfortunately how journalism is controlled in this day and age. And I think Zan said it to us last night when we were prepping for the show. Like, we live in an influencer age. We live in a younger age where where the journalist wants to be part of the clip when it drops.
Yeah, let's continue to hear what Taylor had to say about the questioning.
US and kind of has been for a lot of the last year, and I'm just kind of wondering how you're feeling about all of it.
I mean, I'm not sure what we're like specifically talking about, but there is a lot going on in the US, and I don't know, I feel like whatever I say here is gonna get put in a headline, and it's gonna get taken out of context. So I'd really rather not do something that's gonna cause a big distraction for me in the middle of the tournament.
That's bingo. He nailed it right there.
Nick, can you? Oh, I was going to say if you could pull that back up, but it's okay.
There was
I
nothing left.
I was just going to point out. Look at how Taylor Fritz though was sitting at that podium. Now, is that from the fact of he just played a grueling match and won, but also because mentally you hear this question like I'm supposed to be talking about a win. I'm moving on. He sounded very much exhausted, like his voice had gotten out probably from all the yelling and hooting and hollering for winning his match. But like you even could kind of tell how he was sitting and then hearing the question, like, I'm really getting asked this question when I just won a match to move on in the tournament.
I think it was just an awkward spot at a press conference where you're just like you just said, oh, I just won this grueling match. Now you're putting me on the spot for political takes. I didn't ask for this shit. Like, why this person is allowed to continue to be there? Why they continue to have credentials? First of all, I didn't even know they credentialed freelance journalists. Did you?
I mean, I know some teams will, but at like a major event, though, I'm kind of surprised.
I know this is bizarre, to say the least. And she went on social media afterwards and said like that it was clickbait, which it is. It was.
Yes.
It felt like clickbait to me because what are you trying to accomplish at the Australian Open by asking about political situations back in the U.S.? What is what are you trying to accomplish there?
With disclaimer, the writer is a Canadian freelance writer for the New York Times, Canadian-based.
Correct.
Which is weird to even think about that, too. And I think Christie's right, though, Nick, especially since athletes or players usually don't seem to have any interest in answering these questions in general.
Right. I don't know. I'm wondering, though, and this goes back again to something that Zan said last night to us, like, because journalists want to be involved in everything now and even being part of the clip, the viral clip. Do you think that the reason The Athletic maybe hasn't stopped the questioning is because they know it's going viral and it's making...
Oh, it's got to be. And I think Zan was so spot on last time when he joined us for a bit in the dungeon when we were prepping for the show today. To fuel the ego of the writer, On top of also, hey, we're getting, 1 million views on the content because we're getting all these, controversial questions being asked. Where again, as we said though, in a roundabout way, in hour one, does that have any bearing though on Anisimova winning or losing to Jess Pegula yesterday,
No.
or how Taylor Fritz and Ben Shelton play? So I guess, Nick, though, to go back to the press pass or hard pass now, was Amanda Anisimova's not relevant response a professional boundary that every athlete should adopt, or is it a hard pass because global stars have a civic responsibility to address the state of their country when the world is watching?
No, it's a press pass. Of course I would adopt this strategy. First of all, they don't have to talk politics. I've said this many times throughout the show today that, to be honest, I wish athletes wouldn't talk politics at all during a sports event. And I thought Fritz handled it correctly, and that's why he was
1,000%.
That's why
I thought Amanda handled it well. Now, maybe you had a bit of a exception, like, did you really have to go and make the dig on social media though too? Like, we get what we got your point though.
Well,
but
that's why I originally asked you for context when you put that question together, because contextually, the way she handled it when she was being asked on the press, she handled it correctly.
Perfect.
On a social media standpoint, did she really have? She's giving the guy attention by calling it out on social media. That's where I had the problem.
Yeah. I mean, I'm giving it a press pass too. I mean, I don't really see how you can't. I mean, now, again, we literally talked for 35 minutes earlier this morning, about how, again, as I said, about how the NBA has always been a vocal proponent of whatever it might be. Again, they're the only league that doesn't play on election day every time that it rolls around because they want people to get out there and vote. Again, to my point earlier, though, this is the same league that had Bill Russell playing in it, winning 11 championships, but yet those same Celtic fans who loved him on the court would throw rocks through his living room windows back in the day in the 60s at the height of the civil rights movement. But I think, though, Anisimova is absolutely right to get the press pass. Again, this is not relevant to what just happened. It's a clickbait issue involving the Athletic and the writer. And I think that every American now, Nick, I don't know if you can back me up on this, though. I think Coco Gauff kind of in a way talked about this at length, though, before obviously we talked last night about, the video of her smashing the racket after it was all said and done when she lost, though.
Add that to this, because that's part of the media war, too.
I mean, and it is part of it, though, because she had believed that she was in a spot without any television cameras or cameras in general, going back to the players' locker room.
She went behind a wall that was
behind a wall and smashed her racket against a railing, a brick wall, and the floor, the concrete floor. But yet, though, Nick, I think ESPN followed her walk back to the dressing room.
Oh, there was a camera back there. I don't know if
camera back there, and regardless, Coco Gauff took massive exception to that, as did Serena Williams.
Well, wouldn't you? If you think you're in a private spot and you have no idea.
There was also a video I saw this morning of another player on the women's side who also thought she was in a safe area to break her.
Svitek.
Yeah, she same thing. Same thing, and she got caught on another camera somewhere in the building.
I think it was Igor.
I think so. But either way, she comes off the court. She puts her bag down, takes out the racket, and begins to demolish it on the floor. Where, to my point last night, Nick, I swear to goodness, if that's your boy McEnroe, if that's any male tennis player, everybody loves it. Oh, I love the fire. I love the intensity. Yeah, it's flex on him. But the second, though, that Serena does that, oh, you can't act that way. You can't do this.
It's not ladylike.
Yeah, it's not ladylike. How can you do this?
Well, and what did I say to you last night? I said, if you're going to allow it on one side, it's got to be both. You got to be fair.
At me.
Because look, and I said this last night, I have no shame saying this now. Men's athletes are treated far better than women athletes are.
And I by the way, I did love Serena's response to Coco smashing the racket, by the way.
I'm going to pull that up, but well, no, I think it was a response to her husband who quote tweeted that like CNN and the New York Times and ESPN and
yes,
we're making headlines out of it. Here it is. So Alex Ohanian, who's Serena's husband, said, NGL, I love this energy and emotion from Coco Gauff. We love sports because it's raw, because these athletes put their all into the battle. And sometimes, like life, you don't win. Media are going to spin this private moment for a headline to get some clicks. But Coco did nothing wrong.
Not at all.
Did nothing wrong here. So then Serena, in a stroke of comedy, which I thought was hilarious, quote tweeted it and said, "Well said. Passion, caring matters. Nothing wrong with hating to lose. Now, Coco, when you want, I could show you how to demolish in one swipe, Serena style."
I thought that was great.
Well, Serena was the queen of smashing rackets. Like, but at the same time, she was the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest women's tennis players of all time.
100%.
But why is there a camera in the locker room while she thinks she's in a private spot smashing a racket? And it was behind a wall. So that's even creepier, that like the camera caught her doing it.
More importantly, was that like why would ESPN have a camera in that spot of the facility anyway?
So here's the weird thing about the build out of all the majors. The camera is there in an angle because that's where they walk out onto the court.
Yes.
But at the same time, the locker room is right within that entrance.
Correct.
So it's not exactly very well planned.
Not at all.
So who do you blame for that in that situation? I'm not saying her. I'm saying, do you blame the network? Do you blame ESPN?
I think they're at fault.
Or do you blame the tennis tournaments because of where the locker rooms are right inside where they go in and off the court?
I think both can be cast both ways.
That's the problem here. It's the classic debate of how much insight do you need?
Yeah, like I don't like the whole thing of like, well, we have to watch the two teams walk up the tunnel at halftime of a football game, for example, or during basketball games.
The other creepy thing was Iga was, I don't know if you saw this. She was lying. Yes, that she was lying on the ground with a towel over her. Did you see that or no?
I think so.
It was the same spot around that. Or actually, did you see they also have one in the gym area where, no, like the one that you see on TV, not like,
yes.
Like where they do the jumping up and down, and the last minute preparation before they go out on court.
Yeah. Okay.
She was lying down. It looked like a sauna layout. Like she had a towel over her body, and people were speculating because of the angle. That's the problem, though. Why is there cameras like that there? Why?
I wonder the same thing. I mean, this is a definite. I mean, for one thing, it's a definite press pass for Amanda Anisimova. I mean, she handled that about as great as you could. Same with Taylor Fritz, Jess Pagula, the other American players who have been, in a way, feet hung to the fire to answer questions, not even involving their game on the tennis court, for one thing. But yeah, I wonder though, Nick, if it in fact is too much insider, like too much of an insider look. Not just tennis, I think though, even involving like. Football going to halftime. Do you really want to, cut to a camera angle and maybe see a fight break out in the locker room of a football game during halftime? I don't think so.
Or worse.
Or worse. Yes.
No, I'm talking about like changing, walking around, like all that stuff. But here's a quote from Coco after the loss, by the way, about the privacy concerns.
Yes.
Quote, I feel like certain moments, and I don't know if you remember a video resurfaced of when Coco beat Sabalenka at the U.S. Open, and she went in the back. She had her the second place. What do they call that? The plate or whatever.
The finalist trophy, runner-up trophy.
And so she had her bag. She had the trophy. She put the trophy down on the bag. She took a racket and just smashed it to smithereens. Like,
oh baby!
And it was but it was on video when she thought she wasn't on video. And people are going to say, guys, you're overreacting. Like, it's great social media content. It's all about clicks.
Of course.
I mean, Unfortunately, it is. Not that we like it, but like that's why they put the cameras there, because they have some players forget that the camera's there.
Oh, naturally, and naturally they're going to, because they're focused on playing the game, not about how they look on television.
No, but I'm saying like after the fact.
Same thing. Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Where the emotions are running high. Kogo didn't play well yesterday at all.
Oh, did you want to also roast Naomi Osaka's beekeeper outfit too before she had to withdraw because of injury?
Yes. Well, and then pulling out of the tournament due to injury. But the beekeeper outfit, which, because she cares more about fashion than she cares about tennis. I mean,
What?
and again, can we not break the merchandise? We need that for lounge at the end of the week.
She just stopped talking to Angel Reese's fashion designer, please.
Well, I don't think does Angel Reese wears. I've never seen Angel Reese wear a beekeeper outfit before.
Oh, I'm sure it's coming eventually.
I mean, she likes stealing ideas from people, including her jump shot. But you know what? It's the fashion choice was absurd. That's not meant for a tennis court. You want to go? What's the name of the large fashion show again that all the athletes have been going to now?
The Met Gala.
The Met Gala. If you want to go be a fashionista, go to the Met Gala. Don't bring it to the Australian Open.
By the way, Nick, I wanted to get to one thing. I don't know why I had the link copied and then it didn't work. But Front Office Sports has unveiled that Deion Sanders is now adding a new fine system for his players.
I saw it.
So for those who haven't seen it, Deion Sanders is ready to fine his Colorado players if they violate team rules.
This has to do with the NIL stuff.
If they're late to practice, it's a $500 fine. If they no-show, $2,500. If they're late to meeting or film, $400. They no-show a meeting or film session, $2,000. Late to conditioning, $1,000. No-show conditioning, $1,500. Late to treatment with the team athletic trainers, $1,000. No showing to treatment, $1,500. Violating team rules, $1,000 to up to $2,500. And I think the best one, Nick, public or social misconduct, $2,000 to $5,000.
See, this is the first time I've ever heard of a coach saying that they would actually. This is like being a real athlete in the leagues.
Say what you want, folks, about Deion Sanders. That right there is
perfect.
Is perfect, because it's grooming these men for their 9 to 5 when college football is there. You know, Nick, I know I share the stories a little bit, but I got to interview Candace Parker, former WNBA great, 3-time champion, retired by the Sparks in the Sky, now works for Amazon Prime Video with the NBA, does all the great work for CBS and Turner during the course of March Madness. And I remember when Coach Summit had passed away, and they made a very great 9 for 9 on ESPN that talked about Pat's life. And then when Candace had her own ESPN film special made called Unapologetic, that Candace remembered about how Pat held her players to a high standard. And she talked about the story about when her and her fiance, then former Duke player Sheldon Williams, made her miss curfew at her homecoming game in Chicago at DePaul. Pat Summit didn't care about Candace. Pat Summit benched her best player, meaning Candace Parker, for the first half of the game in Chicago. You prepare these players for life after basketball. And that was, of course, Pat's big thing. What's life going to be like for you after basketball? Obviously, Candace picked up broadcasting.
Wait a minute. There's got to be one caveat there, though, because this was before the NIL era.
This was before NIL, but still disciplining players in that fashion before now where we're at here in 2026.
You're right.
Yes.
But at the same time, because of all the NIL money that's involved, these players don't give two shits because they're going to get their money regardless because they sign deals for their money.
So to tie it into Deion real quick. Now, I think last year Deion had a similar policy where you had to wear a shirt if you were in online classes. No hoods, no tank tops, no workout gear, dress like you're going to be going for a job interview. And I think, Nick, and I think about this now with this new policy that he's enacting. I'm of the belief, though, that Deion Sanders is grooming his players to have a better life than he did, maybe growing up, going through college, going into the pros maybe, and he wants to set up his guys for success and maybe don't do what I did during my career away from the NFL and from Florida State University. I might be wrong on that, but what do you think?
I don't know if he can get away with the whole classes thing. Like that they have to, first of all, when you go to classes, you should be able to wear whatever you want. Sorry, that's just the way I feel about it. You want to control the football side of it? Yeah, you're the coach. You're the head coach. You can control all the football activities. You can't control them going to class. No?
Right.
You're telling them they have to dress for a job interview to go to a class?
Well, I mean, not really. Like he's, don't be looking like a slob rolling out of bed, basically.
That's a college student, isn't it?
Well, he didn't say wear a suit, but at least come looking like you're ready for the day and not rolling off the rack and just putting on clothes.
First of all, if you're not wearing a shirt, that's a whole different issue. But
that was more for the guys that were doing virtual classes. I still think it's a way to, discipline is, discipline in ways is becoming a lost art in sports, if you ask me.
Well, that's true.
But I'm all for whatever he has, because you're supposed to set these kids up for success when they're done eventually after 4 years, 8 years, or 15 years in college. Simple as that.
I get it. It's just you can't control them in class. You want to control them in football activities, be my guest, because that's your job as a head coach.
All right, Nick, ready to fill the time there. Let's get to our press clippings here. 4 more stories for the day. Nick, very cool story for the Olympic Games, despite the ice rink still being shit out of control in Italy. But, of course, Nick, the Kelsey brothers, Travis and Jason, have helped fund Team USA forward, Wisconsin star, and the first black woman to play for Team USA, Layla Edwards, to get the Edwards family to Italy to watch Layla play for Team USA starting on February 11th. Nick, this only came about because the Kelseys and the Edwards are from the same part of Ohio. Obviously, I told you before the show that both Jason and Travis did dabble into hockey when they were kids at one point in time before they went to football. By the way, the Edwards family GoFundMe is still active right now, so they've already reached their goal. But I think anything else still will obviously, help out with, transportation or whatever. Nick, I don't know if people really realize how tough it is to get to the Olympic Games, because I've heard stories though about how much it's costed, and that there's a family village that is built for families that are in fact at the games. They go to the games, even back home, like, in, for example, Hillary Knight's home city of Sun Valley, Idaho. They have they rent out a giant cabin for the whole week of the tournament that they're playing. But good, though, I think, on the Kelsey bros for helping out the Edwards family. And for not just that, Nick, I mean, other people in the hockey world have also helped out too, myself included.
You know what? I mean, when athletes who are much more fortunate than most people are willing to give back to a community to help athletes who want to go to the Olympics, there's a lot of people who train hard for the Olympics and they can't afford the trips to go wherever they got to go.
Correct.
To get to the events. The Kelsey brothers, last time I checked, are doing way better than most people are in life. But I think the one question I said to you was, is there a good karma situation out of this?
Regarding how?
Meaning, are they doing it for just good karma generally so they don't look like assholes if they said no?
No, I don't think so. Because I think what I remember reading is that the Kelsey brothers and the Edwards family grew up in the same part of Ohio.
If that's the case, then yeah, it's totally fine.
I don't know if they may have played at one point or I don't know the whole circumstance. I just think it's cool though, because especially Nick, with where especially getting the Olympic Games is very, very tough to do. And Layla has been crushing it though for her whole college career at Wisconsin and now with Team USA. Nick, clipping number 2. This is another interesting college money issue, but Michael Zhang, who was a star tennis player at Columbia University, is now facing take the money or take your degree after winning $150,000 at the Australian Open.
This is ridiculous. Tennis is like the only rule left that has this dumb amateurism rule, and you and I laugh at that word because it doesn't exist anymore because of NIL. Give the kid his money. He worked his ass off to get to the Australian Open and win a few rounds. Like, that's life-changing money to some of these kids. And you can't accept the prize because, oh, well, the school won't let you finish your degree if you collect prize money. I mean, so if you win the lottery, is that the same thing?
In their eyes, it probably is. And I think, Nick, that probably more of the individual sports probably face more scrutiny than team sports, if you ask me.
But I'm saying college basketball and college football have NIL.
I know. College baseball does. College soccer does. College volleyball does.
So are they saying because technically it's a professional tournament, it doesn't fall within the college guidelines? Is that?
I guess so.
I mean, I guess that's the one thing that is in similarity, because you're not going to see a college football player go do an NFL thing and be allowed back in. You're not going to see a college basketball player go take part in NBA All-Star Weekend, win a prize, and then be allowed back in for the rest of the season. So from that standpoint, I guess it makes sense. But this amateurism rule is preposterous because amateurism is dead.
Nick, Kurt Signetti's headset from Indiana's first ever football national title is now up for auction. It's gone. Last checked, it was starting bid at $4,000, but last night it was over $11,500 for the history-making headset from the coach of Indiana Hoosier football.
What?
11,500. When we first started, it was at 4,000 or less than 4,000. I mean, it's a headset. Like, help me here, because I'm not seeing the value in a Kurt Signetti headset. Like,
I mean, there'll be some degenerate bidder who's a sports memorabilia geek like you and I used to be that will freaking bid on it, win it, and then have him sign it and then have no use for it.
right. I mean,
I think it's funny.
if it's for charity, that's one thing.
I would hope though that the whatever proceeds are raised, it would go to, like, I don't know, the school's medical school, for example, or I don't know, St. Jude, for example, or something that is close to home for either Coach Signetti or for the school itself.
Yeah, if it's for charity, or maybe it's helping the school, that's
Yeah.
one thing.
NIL.
I'm assuming it's a school thing, because how else would they get access to that if it's I mean, I'll look it up really quick as we get to the end of the show.
Already. I can't believe it.
Let's see, Kurt Signetti auction for headset. Let's see. Okay, here's the auction. So it's on a site called Bison Drop, whatever that is, where the best stuff drops. And it's on the Hoosiers Connect store. The bid is over $15,000 now.
Good grief, man.
This is crazy. I mean, oh, and they have shipping attached to it too.
Oh, of course. Plus $4.99 for shipping, or plus $7.99 for shipping. $15.99. $14.99.
No.
$30.
Close enough. The domestic for the US is 25 and international is 50.
Nah, that makes sense.
But for $15,000, you can't ship it for free, my guy.
No.
I mean, crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, Nick, last press clipping. To no surprise, it involves my hometown Padres. Injured right-hander Yu Darvish refutes reports from both Padre beat writer Kevin Acee and Bob Nightingale about him retiring.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
Sorry.
No, please.
What?
Thank you.
Man, between Bob Nightingale, Ken Rosenthal, does anyone like the Padres?
I don't think so. I think I'm the only one who does. To Liam's pot shot on Monday, that I'm the only person who cares about the Anaheim Ducks and the San Diego Padres.
I think that was more a joke than anything, but this is stupid. Bob has been way off on a lot
He's
of
really
stories.
bad at his job.
He used to be really good at his job. Now he is inaccurate, getting stories wrong. He must have bad sources because he keeps getting.
He's got to have bad sourcing. I mean, this is terrible, man.
And I think he had to come out and say, like, hey, well, I'm trying to find the Yu Darvish tweet because I know he put something out.
Yeah, he was like the first one to claim that the Padres were going to like work out a Anthony Rendon buyout essentially for his contract, and that never came to fruition.
Oh, here. Since there are reports about my retirement, I'll explain briefly. I've been discussing with the Padres since last year about terminating the contract, but I haven't decided to retire yet. You want to know why he hasn't decided to retire yet? Because he wants a buyout.
Yes.
My own intention has been consistent since the start of the offseason, but at this point, discussions with the Padres, the Players Association, and my agent haven't been finalized. As for me, if I can thoroughly complete my rehab and feel confident that I can pitch in games both mentally and physically, I'd like to start over and compete from scratch again. As for this year, I plan to go to Petco Park for rehab as well and also attend a bit of spring training. Yeah, Bob. Well, I don't know if someone gave him the wrong information.
I doubt it.
That's the problem. Like, people are so. What is it in today's day and age where we try to be first, not accurate?
Yep.
When it comes to reporting stories, that's the biggest problem in sports media and sports journalism today. We're so quick to say, "Oh, well, Callan McClurg from the Empty the Bench Network was the first one to get the story right," rather than saying, "Is the story actually accurate?"
Correct. And that was a thing, Nick, I saw during the course of a British television done documentary about how the media covered JFK's assassination in 1963. They talked to the former head of either UPI or the AP, who said back then it was get it first, but get it right.
That's the problem. Like,
that's what we don't do nowadays in this field of work, sadly.
I don't know what to say anymore at this point, but there's just no accuracy when it comes to certain things.
Can I just go one season without everyone like shitting upon my hometown and my organizations for a change, please?
I like the Padres.
It would be nice for once. With that in mind, though, folks, great show again today. Thanks to the over 84 members that watched here today. We are back next Wednesday again at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We will, though, Nick, have our good man Brandon Towers, formerly of Playback TV, to talk all things Playback TV, the rise and the fall and the utter collapse back in December.
Yeah, that's the goal. So if you were part of the Playback community, get the word out. Let's put it this way. Is there going to be some tough conversation during it? Yeah, there is going to be some tough conversation during it. But we that's our job as a sports media and business show, right? Like, we get to the bottom of when certain things crumble and fall and what the reasons are. In case you didn't know and you're watching this for the first time, we did work with Playback TV as a partner. You got to see us watch NBA games, MLB games, NFL, lots, tennis, soccer,
baseball, the World Series,
the NBA Finals, and then all of a sudden it just closed up shop and died, essentially. Even though they claim they're trying to sell it to another platform, and it has not happened yet. So we'll find out more about that next week. Brandon's a really good guy. A lot of their people are really good people. I've gotten to know a lot of their people.
Yes,
actually. Their tech guy sat with me for an hour and asked me my opinions about how we could fix the platform.
Right.
Now, some of it they did. Some of it they probably had some limitation. I'd like to know more about the money situation because I think that's what killed them. What was it? $22 million from Alex Ohanian, and now they don't have any money.
And we talked about how maybe they dropped the ball with the Tony Reali around the room.
And
issue.
What about all the different big names they had come do shows?
Yeah.
Like, we could make a whole list. I mean, Jared Carabas in baseball, Garnett and Pierce doing their podcast on here. There was a rumor that they were going to have a tennis show. It never happened.
Correct.
They had Dylan Betances and Merrow doing a Yankees and Mets show. I mean, they had a lot. And You know what the problem is? The rights and the licensing fees probably were detriment. And also, the partners didn't really get a lot out of.
No, not really, sadly. So again, we'll have Brandon Towers on next Wednesday morning. Already going to be in February, if you can believe it, next Wednesday.
God.
Already.
And my birthday.
Yeah, day after Nick turns 33 or 32.
No,
32?
33. Yep.
But again, as a reminder, though, folks, you can also, again, find us on social media. We're at Press Row ETB, and, of course, follow ETB. We are at ETB Network on social media, again, Twitter, IG, and TikTok. And, of course, subscribe today, youtube.com/ETB Network. Nick, as always, great to see you. We'll see you again, folks, next week. For Nick Morgasen, I'm Callan McClurg. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next Wednesday with Brandon Towers of Playback joining us for a conversation about Playback TV and where things stand, and also to reminisce on the days of Playback TV. We'll see you folks next week. Until then, have a great day and a great rest of your week. Until then, have a good one. Bye-bye.
See you later. See you next week.